At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
You are listening to DC On Screen.
All right. Percocet. Molly Percocet.
That is Pulitzer-worthy tune, man.
I know, man. It gets stuck in your head. I hate when it gets in there.
Mm-hmm.
It does it every once in a while.
Yeah.
I can't remember what my wife had me singing the other day, and I was just like, oh my God, why did you do this to me? It wasn't that. It wasn't Mask Off. I don't know what it was, though.
I've had to get a few bad ones out of my head. I think I pulled off a miracle. I watched The Little Girl and two or three other just randoms. I don't know what the song was. I think it had peanut butter in it. They must have chanted it 45 times in a row.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Just because, you know that endless energy.
No.
And
I never had that as a kid.
I'd seen it then. I don't know if I had it like that.
No, I did.
But yeah.
I did at a certain point.
It was a long time. I mean, it was genuinely 15 straight minutes, I feel like, of just chanting. They should have summoned something. It was weird. But I don't know what that song was or what it sounded like, and I'm very proud of that.
Oh, good. It's important to be proud of something.
Yeah.
The hell? Okay, well, I just looked down on my desk and there's like an action figure gun that I don't recognize. It's like, wait, where did you come from?
It's like you found evidence of a coming attack in Toy Story mode. They left one piece behind.
Yeah, I mean, I hate when
he's up there reporting to his sergeant. I'm sorry, Sergeant, but I'll never find it. I'm sure. Oh shit!
Like not only do I not recognize it, it's broken. It's like what? What happened here? Right.
Maybe it's a peace offering. Is that?
Well, we don't have any animals to bring me a dead rat or a broken toy, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome into DC On Screen.
Yeah.
I'm your host, David C. Robertson. This is your co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
Man, it's a lot, man. It's every time we get close to a movie opening, it is like all the news happens. And I think this is our final news episode before Superman comes out.
Is it? Let me see.
It kind of has to be.
True.
It kind of has to be.
That is true. Yeah.
Because we got Superman 3. Mm-hmm. We still got Superman Returns if we're going to do that one.
Mm-hmm. And there she is.
Yeah.
Right there.
And then we go like 2 days later.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah. So, I mean, and look, they've been dropping a lot of shit. Now, look, here's the thing. There were 2 big articles. We've already talked about a couple of things on one of them. Because we did like a quick news thing and a couple of weeks ago. And so there was an Entertainment Weekly with James Gunn, long form interview. And then there was a Rolling Stone. Both of them are worth reading, but he says a lot of the same shit in both of them. There was also a DC Showcase podcast where he also said a lot of the same shit there. I've grabbed pertinent stuff from all 3 of those, as well as a couple other sources. But, especially like the Rolling Stone and Entertainment Weekly, there's some good stuff in there that I like. Dude, like I love reading about your writing process. It ain't going in the show. Like I've got 16 pages here, James.
It just sounds rude that way.
It does sound rude, and I don't mean it rude. Like, I do love it. I love, like, for me, as a writer, and as someone who cares deeply about all this shit, and like, I will watch a rom-com if it says, an aspiring writer, yes.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's about my people.
Yeah.
But... I'm not like, I'm deeply interested in going like, oh, that's really cool. Like, I like that he's doing this. And I like that But that's just from my own. We've already talked about it. If we've already talked about it on the show, I kind of skip it.
It'll have to leave, yeah.
Yeah.
So some establishing things then, yeah. So you're basically doing one interview over how many sources now? 3 or 4? Kind of. It feels like a kind of continued body of things that were said.
Kind of. There were certain, little differences in what he had to say that made me go, oh, well, let me add that line. And and then sometimes I was just like, that's the same. It's the same. These are literally the same picture. We're good.
Yeah. And some of the stuff we don't get now, there'll be time after. Right now, we're 16 pages for us means this could be up to and including a 7.5 hour recording. So,
no, it will not be that, Jason. I'm telling you, I will cut you off.
We may die here.
I will not die here, sir.
Well, yeah, for my own good then, whether I'm left for dead or accidentally take you with me. Yeah, we have to call it somewhere. Yeah, we have plenty of time to cover the writing and all that after it's over and we're just talking what I assume at this point look like lovely box office numbers.
Maybe because, Hollywood Reporter, look, man, Hollywood Reporter said 135 million on the tracking. Now, various sources are coming out. I don't know what to believe because some people are saying basically they're going from 90 million to 185 million. They can't decide what it's going to be. 90 is a long way from 185 million.
Some would say half. Some would say slightly less than.
And they're all biased. They're oh, it's going to be 90. Let's get all the people with the laughing faces excited. Because that's lower than Man of Steel made. Oh,
on opening weekend?
Flop incoming. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't trust any of these sources.
I made 81 or something opening weekend.
Man of Steel made 112, I think. 113.
112, 113.
Yeah, something like that.
That does sound
I didn't write down that metric because it's a fucking 10 plus year movie.
Yeah, that would legit be maybe 150 now. It's only been that long and still.
Yeah. So, we don't know what it's going to make. Everyone's saying something drastically different. But
it's a weird speculative market anyway.
Apparently Warner Brothers, according to one outlet, thinks it's going to be between 90 and 125 million. That's also kind of a big range. So we've said this on every big movie opening. You can't trust the tracking numbers. We don't know what's going to happen. I don't think any of these numbers came out after we started bombing the fuck out of Iran. So who knows? We don't know. The global economy might change drastically.
We just don't know what's happening and in the moments ahead.
We do not. So, on the box office expectations,
I do think 90 to 120 is a more acceptable range of guess for me than 90 to 180.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't mind that as a guess. You got to be able to get it some kind of decent range for actual asses that will be in seats. That has to be some level of predictable. But
yeah, I just don't know. Everything is.
You want to just take a wild stab at it for fun?
Not really, but sure.
Would you have a guess if you actually wanted
to? I would say probably around 135.
You think so?
Personally.
That's actually about what I have. I think around 125, 130 myself.
Okay.
So I'll jot down 125 to 135 as our guessing range just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll forget where I jotted that down. But it's there.
Yeah. So you guessed 125 to 135 and I guessed 135.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Well, in this Rolling Stone interview that he did, he talked about the expectations and how everyone's everything for DC Studios is riding on Superman. Everything's riding on Superman. And James said, really, I just go, that's their business because that's not the truth for me. My truth is this is the first movie out of DC Studios. Other people may say it's got to be a home run, nothing else. I'm like, no, I'd be very happy with a double.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Fucking Iron Man wasn't the be all and end all. It wasn't Avatar. We are doing something that's a piece of the puzzle. It's not the puzzle itself. We have Peacemaker, we have Supergirl, and what we want to do is make a movie that people love. They feel connected to the characters. It's just this one movie. It's not everything. I hate it when there's a fucking article and it's going on about all the problems and blah, 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 blah. And that means even more pressure on James Gunn and Superman. I'm like, guys, I'm not responsible for all of that. I'm responsible for my piece of the pie. I've got to make my budget back. I'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, respectable. I mean, that's not far from what he said not too long ago.
It's not.
When everyone started saying that's when the hype cycle started. Oh, Superman's first. Well, it's just going to have to destroy everything for it to matter. No, it doesn't. I've got 10 years on this contract.
Yeah.
Granted, some things cost him a year or two of that time, I feel like.
He doesn't have 10 years on the contract. He had 4 years on the contract, but a 10-year plan.
Right. Yeah, sorry. But I think that did cost him some time, the writer's strike and all that. But he seemed to have enough in the bank that he's going to be able to really get ground.
Well, one of the great things about it was like, and as he pointed out in one of these articles is, a lot of people giving him shit because like, oh, he's doing everything. He was doing these things before he took on the job of being DC Studios head. He was doing Creature Commandos because we had already talked about Creature Commandos. Or an animated series that he was working on that he was, very excited about. And we knew he was writing Superman before he became the head. And he already had a contract for Peacemaker 2.
He keeps telling the story about how he broke Superman years ago, or how he broke it to his satisfaction.
I mean, yeah.
Well, before this was his job.
Right. And Crypto was his end, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know what I feel like I interrupted you.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, sorry if I did. We've got a new poster for Superman, and I love this thing, man. It looks like I'll put it up on the site, DC on Screen.
Put it up anywhere you can find it. Put it up. You sent it to me, and I just said, "Oh, that's majestic" or some shit.
Yeah, it's total throwback. It looks like an old
majestic.
It did, yeah. It looks like Drew Struzan could have done this shit, and it looks like a proper old school painting. It's not, because there's a little flaw in the belt that I saw and other people pointed out, and I was like, damn it, I was going to let it slide. Why the hell did y'all talk about it? They left one little section red.
No.
And it was just a weird little Photoshop accident. It's like a little thing on the belt. And I'm like, y'all are just like the most joy-killingest motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I hate that I saw it. I was just like, nah. Well, maybe they'll fix that before they actually put it out for sale, And, I mean, little shit like that goes, this is the Getty Shark, motherfucker, so you can calm down. So.
Oh, yeah. I gotta find that now. I really want to see this, bud. All right, good. Sorry, I'm gonna find it in the background now.
Okay. Gunn was talking to Rolling Stone about depowering Superman. A lot of people have complained. Not a lot. It's not like a ton. There are people who have complained, oh, this Superman weak AF, oh. Gunn says, there are things that I know I don't explain in reference to Superman that I don't even want to say out loud. But I wanted Superman to be vulnerable. I see the online things. Who would beat whom? Homelander or Superman or fucking whatever. Adam Warlock or Brightburn. And I'm like, this is the fucking stupidest fucking conversation. Like, so then whoever would win this fight means that they're the best, because I'll just go out and write God-Man, who can destroy you with a wink, and I win. I win all the fights forever. Absolutely. It's something I've been saying for years. People get mad at me. I hate that shit. I hate that. Who would win, Goku or Superman? Whoever the fuck the writers want to win.
The writers decide, yeah.
And for whatever reason, the writers, Batman can't beat Superman. That's just ridiculous. He has, motherfucker, because that was written.
Real-time, real-world example is wrestling now. I mean, they walk in with a plan. Sometimes they walk out with a different one based on how the crowd went.
Yeah.
People have turned heel literally on spur of the moment because that's where the crowd was moving, and that's what they went with. Mm-hmm. It's crazy time, but
the fun of it is reading it and going, that is an interesting way of getting there. or saying, what does this mean? What does this say about his motivation? Some of it is about the mental gymnastics of it. Is going like, oh, how did they get to Superman did this and took down Batman? How did they get to Batman taking down Superman this way or whatever? Like these like
the Dark Knight Returns parts where how and why he took him down. Yeah. Or the brassiness of that. That's cool. That's a neat thing, but doesn't have to be there for every last thing.
But also like the thing that people who are like, fucking Batman took down Superman in Dark Knight Returns. He did a bit, but also like Superman sat there and listened to his heart stop beating. Like,
yeah.
And he does have some measure of compassion and fondness for Bruce. Like it's just so reductive. Anyway, Gunn says,
yeah. But I mean, the story, like when you're learning something about the characters, the place, yourself, if that's the kind of story you're into right then, way more interesting than playing Pokemon with comics.
Yeah. But as far as scaling back Superman's powers, Gunn says, I didn't want a Superman who could punch planets. And also we're creating a whole universe now. So what's a girl with wings going to do in the face of that? So he's a little less powerful. Guy Gardner's pretty fucking powerful. They're all pretty wonderful and powerful. Honestly, in talking to people, a lot of people are like, I like Batman better because he can actually be beat. And I get that. So we have a Superman that can be beat.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it.
Yeah, I do. I mean, he led with that.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny that we even have that conversation. It's such a weird character because you don't have that conversation in any other capacity than like Superman.
Almost. I mean, you do have your Gokus and your Homelanders and shit where people are just like, you've got the power fantasy people who are just like jerking themselves. You do have
Homelander
raw.
Just knocking it out of the park for that.
Yeah. You've got people like just scrubbing the skin off their dicks over how powerful these characters are. And that's their ultimate power fantasy, and I've never understood it. I want a character who's beatable. I don't want to watch Superman juggle a fucking planet and not be able to be beat.
I enjoyed it moments. I do, but I have a weird relationship with it. I like there being restraint, but for reasons that are more organic. Mm-hmm. Like I really hate the like Marvel does this a lot. I feel like. Batman does. They get this a lot. I hate these like steroid-driven stories. Where you get like Batman with a fear ring, for instance, it's fun for a second. I mean, I do like that one actually because it has the fear ring. There's like a reason he got that.
Yeah.
But that's organic in a way. When you get things for a second,
the yellow ring is what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I meant the yellow ring. But yeah, like when you're getting it for a good reason, like the reason the restraint's there with Superman is because it's built into his character. Right. Like the actual character of his person is integrity. When you're just getting these little flashes of Jimmy Olsen becoming the giant space turtle for a second. All right, it's cute. It's a funny story. It's a cute story for half a second, but it's not a memorable, fun thing. No one's incorporating that. It doesn't have to be there, and it can go. It's not building much for me.
Yeah, it's fun to pop it in every once in a while.
And I love going down a rabbit hole where you're like, oh man, you know what? If I did compare their powers, I can enjoy it for a second. Like I one of my favorite experiments is thinking about how in theory Gambit could just put his hand on the world and concentrate long enough and just crack that thing open like a nut.
In that case, I don't think it would be a long enough situation so much as it would be just like, could he muster the energy to actually get it done? Like
exactly.
It'd be so much concentration and so much power.
Would it be, is it feasible that way? See, like that's a fun conversation for me to go down. But
for a little bit,
I don't live there.
Right.
No.
And the most fun to me is because when people are like, dude, like out in the real world, when people find out I do a DC podcast, their first reaction is, oh, who wins in a fight? So and so and so and so. And my reaction has to be, well, which version of the character are you talking about? And then they drop their head because they know exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like, are we talking about Golden Age Batman with a gun? Or are we talking about fucking Silver Age Superman who's juggling planets?
Yeah.
Like, what are we discussing? Because Silver Age Superman is like super, super smart. Super, super smart. Yeah, super, super smart. Super smart. Sorry.
Don't do this to yourself or us, but don't do this to yourself mostly.
But like,
Yeah, like Batman with a gun and knee-jerk reactions.
yeah, post-crisis Superman seems to be like of average intelligence.
Yeah.
And considerably dumbed down power-wise.
Yeah. But yeah, compare that to the Bat God. Different thing.
Yeah. Grant Morrison's Bat God is... when I was a kid, I loved that shit because I was like, yeah, fucking Batman. Batman's just yeah, God, he's just so cool. And he's James Bond, and he's like, all these different characters and wrapped up into one, and he's just like, he's Sherlock Holmes. And now, like, as a 40-year-old, I'm like, Batman being able to do everything is kind of boring.
Yeah, it is when he can just do it magically. There's like when there's just too much stuff in his utility belt, or that weird Superman era where he had too many powers. That just gets lame. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, Superman having a moral code that keeps him in check, or just Batman having like some limits that keep him. Just he's got to sleep like 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's time he can't be planning for Killer Croc, even though he's been in prison for 12 years now and doesn't see any, like a backup plan for a third backup plan for a fourth character that he hadn't run into for 17 years. Mm-hmm. Like, go to bed, man.
Yep. Which that's one of the reasons I really liked stuff like, I think it was Wade who did that Queen of Fable storyline where they had ousted Bruce from the group, from the Justice League. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And like the whole world was being overrun by fairy tales, and they were like trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And then like Batman just appears over in the corner and like motions for, I don't know, Kyle Rayner or somebody to come over, and he just hands him a book, and he's like, they're fairy tales. And he's gone. And they're like, oh, shit. Yeah, Batman helped, didn't he? Yeah. Like that. He's like, I got other shit to do, but this is what y'all looking for.
But this is just, here's the key. Just, yeah. Yeah, he does. Yeah, Godspeed. Oh, I like that. That is one of my favorite versions of that. Like you showed me stories about that similar vibe with Spider-Man. Or like Peter Parker version, just popping in and being super smart out of nowhere. Just, hey, by the way, that's actually the answer to this chemistry problem. You can't. Yeah, I gotta go. Dude's getting robbed.
Yeah.
I like the version though that he's just too damn busy to be as smart as he could be at any given time.
Yeah.
That's a good limiter for me. It makes him Bat God when you need it to be, but not when but he can't do it all the time.
Yeah. You
still want him to be, baneable, we'll call it.
Yeah. And you know what I would probably do in the comics now? I'd probably get hate for it if they haven't already done it. I like the idea of Bruce basically programming an AI version of himself who just like pops into people's feeds, the JLA feeds, and is like, all right, so Bruce is asleep, but here's the thing. I've been analyzing this. And here's what you want to take care of. Oh, thanks, AI Batman.
I like the idea that there's one, it's going to be like Elastic Man or somebody, that we find out for 2 years has had a relationship with an AI Batman who at the end of it, like goes to the end of his instructions and just at the end of it's just like, okay, I got to go. Don't tell him I was here. Like, cause AI Batman would keep himself a secret too. Mm-hmm. He just has a whole ongoing plan that the actual Batman doesn't know about. And of course he'd pick on somebody like Plastic Man,
Elastic Man,
somebody like that.
Elongated Man, you mean?
Yeah. I honestly, I'd just grab any man, any one of the men who's ever been at the Watchtower doing something.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because they're all pretty much the same goofy side character that I needed for that.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that's a pretty good idea too, is like Bruce trains an AI, but the AI kind of gleans enough of his personality that the AI becomes Batman.
Yeah.
So Bruce didn't even intend to do it. That's fun.
I mean, they've toyed with that with OMAC and stuff like that, but that was, of course, a different, very different global kind of story. I don't know that anyone's done, you know what? I haven't been reading comics recently enough to see if anyone's done proper AI stories in current comics, but I'll bet
they have. I'm sure
I'll bet that showed up somewhere.
I'm sure. All right. So talking to BuzzFeed, James Gunn says that 3 people from Guardians of the Galaxy are in Superman. He said, and this is some tricky wording here. He says,
I know.
Palm Clementif is one of the robots. In the same scene, it's Bradley and it's Michael Rooker as another one of the robots. We've got two Guardians right there. So, it sounds like he's saying Palm is one of the robots and Rooker is one of the robots and Bradley is something else. Because he says it's Bradley and then he very obviously does not say what Bradley is playing.
Sure.
It's Bradley and it's Michael Rooker as another one of the robots.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't fully follow what he's going for. Also,
I think Bradley is a different character.
Yeah, I mean, I get that part, but I was waiting to hear Michael Rosenbaum.
Rosenbaum is in there. Yeah, he's already said he's playing some some small voice cameo.
Yeah, I mean, he'll qualify for both lists though.
Yeah, he was in the Guardians of the Galaxy. He sure was.
Diamond-headed looking dude, I think.
I've heard rumors of what Bradley is. Mm-hmm. And I've heard it for months. I've heard months and months and months ago. I won't say it then if you haven't heard it.
No, I think I have avoided that. Okay. Yeah, spare me.
Yeah.
Spare me, please, Lord.
I was just thinking it's interesting that he brought it up. Like, why would you even say that, James?
Yeah.
Like that. Anyway, remember that shot from the thing, the little commercial or whatever that everyone was mad at because it was like the first shot of Superman flying, and they were like, his eyes are weird.
Yeah,
and he looks
the walleye shot.
Yeah, the walleye shot. Yeah.
It almost had a shorthand after a while, I believe.
Yeah, and everyone's been making fun of it.
Right, and then its subsequent removal.
Yep. And they said there was a situation on social media where people thought David was flying with CG superimposed thing. Was that telling when you talk about having to figure out how to pull off these mechanics of getting David to fly authentically? James says, no, I don't think it was so much. It was a TV commercial and it wasn't a finished visual effects shot. So the part of him flying, it was a photograph of his face and him flying. It was a photograph of a drone flying in front of an actual background. So all the pieces were real, but it was incorporated in kind of a funky way. I didn't love the shot, so it's not even the shot that's in the movie. Sometimes I'm pretty strict about when I'm going through a trailer and looking at each of these shots. But sometimes the commercials, I forget to look at this closely. So that one kind of got by me. You can't be doing that shit, James.
That's kind of funny, though.
Can't be doing that shit, James.
That's the most transparent response I've ever seen to one of those.
Oh, people are roasting the shit out of him because he's walking it back now. He's walking it back. He took it out because everyone bullied him. Everyone said, hey, this is shit. So he took it out. And now he's trying to act like, oh, this one just got by me. Instead of him just approving it and thinking it looks great, and then everyone going, no, it didn't. You piece of shit. I think the guy is busy. Honestly.
I was about to say, he's so busy, I'm kind of okay in a world where both of these are a little bit true. I think you can column A, column B it.
Yeah, I don't care. Care. The guy's busy as shit. Like, whatever, man.
Like, yeah, he probably glanced at it. Maybe he missed that shot. I don't know. I'm genuinely impressed that people can do a lot of video editing anyway. I constantly think about those studies where you just see, you can just like do change blindness where you just sneak a gorilla across a basketball game.
Uh-huh.
Or a security guard watches, 12 hours of footage and a whole robbery takes place and you just don't even notice.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking at it from James Gunn's perspective and he's like busy, this was our first flight. This was the first big flight shot that we saw. But like that ain't the first thing he's seen. That motherfucker's seen so many.
Yeah, I know. That's the part where like, yeah, I agree. Missed shot there.
It is.
If that's just really what happened, then it's hilariously transparent, but understandable, of course. But yeah, like that is the tragedy of it. It was a highly scrutinized shot. It's one of those where, man, I bet you have that. I bet you'd love to have that one again if that's really how that went down. Meet our new. Oh,
yeah, that was.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's crooked.
Yeah, that was a weird shot. We screwed it up.
Yeah. I think the goodwill currently has probably overtaken the
I think so.
The memory of that?
I mean, the memory is still alive, but...
For some.
For people who are desperate for it to be.
I mean, I remember it, but I don't have any feelings.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, you and I, even on our small level, have dealt with video editing and trying to produce a thing. Mm-hmm. Shit just happens sometimes. Sometimes you miss stuff. Sometimes you just... You shot a thing and you're like, oh, Jesus, that looks terrible. Like, it happens.
You ever hear the final mix of something come out of a speaker that it can't be undone now? And you hear it and go, oh, that's a tweak I should have made. That can't be undone. Dude,
I do it with this podcast where I'll just be listening to something that I just put together and everything, or you sent me back the combined audio or something.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, well, we're not redoing that. Every once in a while. Like,
yeah.
Just something bad happens. You're like, oh, well, they'll get over it. Or they won't.
Yeah. That is one of the issues, one of the practical issues with the length of ours, just the sheer length of ours, is that it's a one-off. Like, we're going to average going on about anything for like an hour or 2, 3 sometimes. Mm-hmm. He says with a whimpering acknowledgement of the truth of the matter at the 32 and something mark.
Shut up. No, as a directive, let me get through this.
I know. But yeah, like it for us, like if there's something in the background that's like that, we can't go back and redo that. We just can't. It's a practical problem.
Yeah.
That 2-hour recording is the best we've got, and it's going to have to go.
All right. So seeing as how we're on page 3, let's continue. 3 of 16, son of a bitch. Yeah.
We've seen worse.
We have. Now,
we've seen double it.
We have.
Truthfully.
Now, how does Lois not see past the glasses? Well, in this movie, she clearly, like, as we start, she already knows he's Superman.
Yeah.
And they said to James, you've already bypassed one of the stickiest issues. How does Lois not see past the glasses? And Gunn says, it comes up again later in the movie and it's explained. She says it, we mention it, and it's a one-off and people chuckle. But there's stuff later in the movie about the glasses that are canon. That's canon in the comics. And then the interviewer says there's a controversial 70s issue of the comic book where it shows that basically Superman uses super hypnotism to change people's perception of him in the glasses. Is what an idea. It was an idea that was sent in by a fan that has mostly been ignored since. And Gunn says something like that. I only know it from DC Comics writer Tom King. The first time we met was at Peter Safran's house. We had this sort of writers group come in. One of those people was Tom King, and he was the most helpful. I'm like, I just don't know how to fucking deal with the glasses thing because it bothers the fuck out of me. All that little stuff that people are like, it's a fantasy, just let it go. I'm like, no, I have to explain everything. Everything for me has to come from a place where I believe it. As outlandish as it is with Rocket, I could not just make it like a talking raccoon. It had to have a very real foundation for where he came from and how he came to be. And I needed to believe that.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I think, personally, like, I get where James Gunn is coming from. And
yeah, I would have the same way.
But at the same time, like, I just don't think, like, we've had Superman actors walking around, not even with glasses on in public, and people don't recognize them because you don't think that Superman's going to be walking around. Like, Henry Cavill literally walked around in front of a billboard of himself in Times Square, and no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
I think, generic white guy, you see a generic white guy, you're not going to be like, oh, look at that guy who's all hunched over. He appears to be, a foot or two smaller than Superman. He's hunched over. He's bumbling. He's, tripping all over the place. His hair's completely different. You're not going to think like, oh, that's Superman.
I mean, I think if you can actually change the way you walk alone, that'd probably do most of the story for you. Just put on a different jacket and a beanie and go on your way.
Yeah. There are lots of people who look like people.
Yeah.
Every time I go into Walmart, I look and see like, oh, I know that person. No, I don't.
Right.
No, I don't know that person. They just look like somebody I know.
The glasses are a funny thing too, because you wouldn't, for any moment in it if it was just something, just an affectation he had at work. Like if there was no history of it and it was just a thing he did at work and it was a one-off where he had him one time and threw him to the side. No one would think anything about it. Mm-hmm. But again, it's Superman. We gotta have an explanation for the glasses one way or the other. But
yeah,
what's going to be a problem for him is that he's going to put him on again later. It's that he's going to make it a design costume choice for himself inside the movie as Clark Kent. Mm-hmm. And just, you can make it as simple as, I don't know, the glasses complete the look if you want to. Whatever. Okay, cool. Yeah. You can go as dumb as Ghostbusters 2016. And, I just took out the lenses because they kept getting foggy. Mm-hmm. You don't have to. And I advise not doing it. But a lot of stupid explanations will get the job done is my point.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. They said to James, with this movie, you have people actively rooting against you because they're fans of a previous incarnation of Superman in DC, Zack Snyder's. Gunn reacts with fake surprise and says, what?
Yeah.
And they were like, yes, as you may have heard. And he laughed. He says, I'm trying to think of how to say this best. I don't mind it. I think it's good. I think you don't want to have everybody root for you. And I have an actor who reads everything online. I won't say who it is, but he'll read this article and he'll know who it is. It's one of the top 5 in Superman. And this actor gets so upset over things that people say. I said, first of all, you realize that the trailer came out and the reaction was 97, 98% positive. These people help us because you don't want everything to seem 100% positive.
Yeah.
It's all right to have an opposing force every once in a while. Some of the things get ridiculous. I just know that every time something comes out, it doesn't matter how positively received, there's got to be something that is of great controversy. It was great controversy that the sun caused Superman pain. And the interviewer says, but that's not what was happening. That was his bone snapping back together, right? And Gunn says, it's like when a doctor resets your bone. You scream, but it doesn't fucking matter because... Is that really a controversy? Is that really something that you're upset about? Or did you have a hard time finding something to be upset about? There's always going to be that. There's going to be something that people are upset about, and it's okay. This actor reads everything, though. He reads every fucking Reddit thread. He watches all of the videos, including by the people who make their livings by hating us. That's how they make all their money. But you don't have to watch their videos where they're talking about how you're awful. You can be reading it all the time. Or you can't be reading it all the time. It'll fucking murder you. It's a terrible thing to do to your soul. And the interviewer says, is this actor your lead, David Cornsweet? And Gunn says, it's 100% not David. David is Superman. He's not a normal person.
That's good.
So I'm like, is it Nick Holt? Is it Skylar? Who is it?
Is it Fillion?
Is it Fillion? Oh, I would imagine.
It would be funny it would be the funniest if it was Fillion. That's a bestie of his. And a top 5. Like it would be funny for him to call out an old bestie of his so publicly. Yeah. He'll know when he reads this shit. Listen, this motherfucker.
Oh man, did you see that?
It's what he just did. It was great.
I didn't include it in the show notes, but there was a bit where someone online was saying like, they did my man Nathan dirty with that hair.
Oh yeah.
And then Nathan was like,
record, I insisted
on it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I appreciate the spirit, young man, but come now. The hair really must be there.
Our last big Superman news, the way into Lex Luthor is what I called this. They asked him, what was your way into Lex Luthor? And Gunn says, I really understand Lex. I feel like I relate to Lex more than I wish I did. Mm-hmm. But for me, Lex looks at Superman like artists look at AI. He is the world's greatest man in so many ways. He's done these unparalleled things. And then you got a guy who comes in who's done nothing to deserve the ability to fly and to smash down buildings. And he's also extraordinarily handsome. And all of a sudden, that's all the world is talking about. And that sort of obsession with being replaced, with your gifts not being seen or passed over, I think is what drives Lex. I relate to everything he does. He's just meaner than I am. I really like that.
I get it. I feel a little bit like this version of Lex is going to be kind of the more you relate to him, the more we need to check to see how you're doing with your therapy. Mm-hmm. But I get it too. I understand. But it's got to be a dick move. You work that damn hard.
Yeah.
And there comes this, and look at him. Just fuck him, you know? Like, just, yeah. Right.
Oh, no, I used to get really aggravated with, because I do a lot of work to put together show notes and stuff and try to get the correct context for news stories and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then like people will just come in and get like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views, and they're doing this shit as their real job now. And all they're doing is just like exactly what James is talking about. It's their job to hate a thing, and all they do is shit on everything that's there.
Yeah.
And take everything out of context because they didn't bother to look at it. They're just like coming in going, yeah, I don't know. I heard this is blah, blah. And that shit bothered the fuck out of me.
I don't blame you.
They were getting millions of views, and I'm sitting over here going, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It always seems like a cheap angle anyway.
I just want to like a thing.
I may be over sympathizing with Lex too, though. I do wonder to what extent they'll make it a product of hard work and he feels betrayed, or just he was always the one who it was just that easy for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I don't know. I'm kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, like Lex never really works for. I don't know of any story, any part of the storyline where Lex like had to cram in college because he was worried about something.
Well, he's a genius, so that's not the issue. But I don't know.
I mean, they're other than the problem of having a Superman, I don't see him having overcome much in his life.
I think you're wrong. Like, I think there are, especially like in Smallville and in certain iterations of the comic, there was a lot of Lex having to prove himself to Lionel. A lot of family baggage. I'll definitely give you that. I'm just talking about externally, I guess, like in the resume kind of sense, the CV sort of sense, I guess. Yeah. Well, I mean, there are versions of it where he's a self-made man, so he had to do something. That is true. There are versions where he has come up. Yeah. It just really depends on, what version you're talking about. Yeah. As I always say, I don't know. What version are you talking about, motherfucker? Mm-hmm. You talking about Superman and Lois? You talking about Titans? Titans, he came out from nothing. Like his daddy, like Lionel was like living in a hovel. And then they come back with, I'm talking about the version of this conversation where I left a second ago, and then they walk away. And that's why you're my only friend. And that's why we're alone. Da, 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 da. Yeah. It's like, you're the only one of my friends. Like, you and my wife are the only ones who go like, oh, his autism kicked in. Yeah. Well, no, I get so tired of the, this is the only version of this character. No, it's not. Which one are you talking about? Yeah. And people like to mix and match and be like, that's my Lex. I'm like, yeah, it is literally your Lex, because you just almost whole clothed him. You took a bunch of shit from a bunch of different versions that you liked, and then you're mad that somebody else isn't doing that. Yeah, from this Lex quilt that you made. So this was exciting. Mm-hmm. This is on the DC Showcase podcast, and Gunn was a guest on that show. Mm-hmm. And they were asking him about Lobo being in Supergirl, which, by the way, is just called Supergirl now. I'm good with that. Instead of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And because Lobo was not in the comic. No. And he was in early drafts of the comic series. And they were asking if like they restored that or if it's going to be in a different way. And Gunn says that's not the case. Lobo is not an amalgamation of any parts from the original. It is unquestionably Lobo through and through. He says the truth is that Woman of Tomorrow in the comics is it's a bunch of little stories. And we needed to create one through line, one 3-act story, a more traditional story. So Lobo helps us do that. It's not an amalgamation of him and Krim. It's a totally separate character. He is himself. I love Lobo. I always thought he was a great character to adapt. I think he's maybe in some ways the biggest comic book character that's never been in a film. So I think it was a cool thing to do. I am excited about that. It seems to indicate that we'll get more of Lobo in snippets throughout the film. Maybe. I'm almost imagining him now as like a
kind of a specter-ish kind of attend Norman kind of thing. As he it would like a through line to go through this. They skip time, they skip all kinds of things. I mean, the story does a wonderfully clever job of skipping time several times.
Yeah.
God, he's so good at this. But yeah, like that would be fun to see him just run through the story. Like, just imagine going through that story with Lobo, just basically every once in a while popping along as like a little Jiminy Cricket. Hey, how's the being kind of a son of a bitch going for you?
Yeah.
Have you hit this stage of son of a bitchness yet? Yeah, no, not yet. Okay, I'll see you in a minute.
Yeah.
Drives off.
That would be fun. I hadn't thought about it being like a Jiminy Cricket kind of situation, like Lobo being Supergirl's conscience.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Got down to me yet, you bastard? Nah.
How many motherfuckers you killed? None. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what they do. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this shit, dude. Gunn was
or
talking.
She could help him. She could also just help him, or he could help her just track down someone like them, like someone who's understands what it's like to just kill because he's curious about killing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about how much fun that's going to be in a second. I got excited again. All right, sorry. Edge, please. What are we on? Page 2.5.
Oh man, you don't want to know. It's 5.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Talking about Millie's casting as Supergirl, Gunn says Millie was. I was just talking to Peter Safford about this again before we were ever hired. And we were talking about it and going through ideas. I was like, Peter, you got to read this. You know, Woman of Tomorrow. I was like, right when it came out, I'm like, it's really good. Listen, I love all of Tom's, Strange Adventures is probably my favorite. I love the Mr. Miracle stuff. I love the Human Target. He's just had all these little great comic series. I like the Black Canary stuff now. I can't wait to see what happens next week. Anyway, I'm like, this is great. And he's like, well, who would you see as Supergirl? And I said, you see the House of the Dragon? Who is that little blonde girl on that? Because I wanted her to be this little pixie-ish, but very attitudinal character. And so she was the first person I brought up. And then when we got her tape, I was like, oh, that's pretty, she's pretty good.
Gets tape. Okay, well, I was right. Hire.
Yeah. I mean, well, apparently it came really close. It was down to her and like Meg Donnelly. Was that her name?
No, would have to look that one up again.
Yeah, I think that was it. It was the girl that played Supergirl in the Crisis on Infinite Earths animated movies in Tomorrowverse, okay. And she really looks like Supergirl. Like to me, which I said this I think last news episode. I said that I thought Meg looked a lot more like the artwork in Woman of Tomorrow than Millie Alcock. And one of our listeners, Lorenzo Valdez, was like, "No, that's not true." like called me out, like messaged me. It was just like, "No, I don't agree with that at all. I think Millie looks more like the artwork." I'm like, I just don't agree.
Mm-hmm.
But
if I could interject with a polite, "Get fucked, you're wrong." Oh, okay, sorry, my bad.
Which is funny because I could see you shrugging with apathy. Like, you just don't give a shit.
Me? Yeah, no.
Yes, you.
Neither way. Hair can change drastically for a film.
Yeah.
As we have discussed earlier in this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Neither here nor there for me for the most part. And I don't think a lot of people end up looking like something that's going to look as godly as it's supposed to either way.
Yeah. I just haven't.
There's a whole little threads on subreddits somewhere you can find if you look up Supergirl and that. Like, there are other people that are still annoyed Melissa when I had that little I don't know what there's like a scar on her forehead.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very similar one right in the middle of my eyes. I know exactly the kind of mark that made that. But yeah, like it bothered me the entire series. There's no version of events where she was able to get that. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Anyway, just little stuff like that can be annoying either which way. I'm not worried about hair too much.
Yeah, no. It's, I don't know why you're talking about hair, but.
Sorry. What? All right, just the look of it too much. I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about.
Getting all attracted to the hair.
Yeah, no, I wasn't talking about hair at all. I'm just like, I think the other actress looked more like the artwork. And that's all I'm saying. Which that means that I am 99.6% excited about this movie instead of 99.7% excited about this movie. I've seen clips from House of Dragon. Like, dude, Millie's going to kill it, dude. Millie's going to kill it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm excited as hell.
I think you had it down to 2 great choices is what it amounted to.
Oh, and by the way, I think I said this on Instagram or something this week, but like if they do a situation where at some point Gunn is already going so heavy into like multiverse shit, like can we please get Power Girl played by Melissa Benoist? I will take that.
Yeah.
I'll also take Sasha Kaye playing Power Girl.
Yeah. Any of the above. A Power Girl would be fun, just either which way.
Also, I'll take Meg Donnelly playing Power Girl. Like, can we just do that?
Yeah.
Please? Over to Clayface. Gunn has confirmed. I think he already has before, but just to be sure, Clayface is intended to be rated R. He says it's just a great horror movie that is a great, smart, fun horror movie, which is in a genre that I happen to love, which is body horror. It's rated R. It's not anything now because the MPA has to watch it, but it's most likely rated R. It's pretty intense. That is not my genre.
No, not at all for me.
I'll be completely honest. Like, I did enjoy the first 6 Saw movies. It wasn't because of body horror, though. It was because it was actually a damn cool little premise with a lot of little twists.
I didn't think it that far. I don't make it into a ton of horror. In general, I kind of have to have a gimmick to get me into it. So, that being said, I'm likely to watch Clayface.
Yeah. Well, the gimmick that got me into Saw, because I didn't want to watch it.
I'm not opposed to it. I just kind of get bored a few minutes in.
Oh, yeah. But like the gimmick that got me into Saw was basically the promise of a mindfuck moment where I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming, you know? And then like they did a really good job, especially the first 3, I would say, of giving me that moment where I was like, oh, okay. You know, it's not just cringe body horror shit. Yeah. So like, especially when I watched those, that was kind of the thing that I needed. I needed to have like the what the fuck, mind twist or whatever. Like I needed what like 2 of those M. Night Shyamalan movies did really well.
Yeah. I mean, I like it more in the sci-fi Twilight Zone area. That's my favorite area of leaving those questions. I don't like that so much in the emotional area where it's just Sophie's Choicey kind of thing where you're just giving me some ridiculous choice I have to make or about an on-screen horror. And a lot of horror just does that. It just makes it like graphic horror instead of emotional horror. Mm-hmm. But a lot of it's just kind of like, oh, that would suck. And
well,
sometimes I don't have a lot of space for that usually.
I know they're like about to make Saw 11 or something, but I haven't watched one since 6.
Seriously?
I don't know.
I half thought you were joking when you said 6 earlier.
No.
Oh shit, no, they were up higher.
No, I watched the first 6 for sure. And I didn't hate the even the ones that I wasn't as big into, but I think if you have an in for those movies, you're basically watching a series of movies about a Batman villain who does not have a Batman. There's no Batman.
If only there were a Batman to stop this guy.
If only there was a Batman to stop this piece of shit.
Yeah. Which would be a fun premise for it. I would probably, I'd probably give it a lot more rope to play with that way.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of fun. It's fun to just sit and just be like, oh god, like even when even the bad moments for like, well, that was stupid, you know, like you get to have some fun like laughing at it a little bit, but then they'll turn it on you and you'll be like, ah, shit, that wasn't funny after all.
Yeah.
There was a reason for it. I need to at this point, I need to go back and rewatch them all before I can catch up. But I did enjoy what I saw of them, even though it's not at all but I'm definitely interested in Clayface. Like this is, they've cast somebody, Tom Reese Harries. Gunn revealed. He says it was a long and incredibly exhaustive search.
I kept wanting to joke about how it must have been no one's ever heard of this dude.
No, not really.
But
no one has.
But see, that's the fun part is I've definitely entered the stage where I don't recognize any of the names until I go look them up or do the research. I don't know them beforehand. I have to go do the research every time now. So I can't just see someone and go, yeah, no one knows him. I probably just don't know him. Mm-hmm. But not this time.
No, you said they were blown away by this guy. And he's really only known for Apple TV's Suspicion. And he was in like Guy Ritchie's 2019 comedy, The Gentleman.
I think I did want to watch that and forgot. And
he won some sort of a sweepstakes with a bunch of other dudes, and they came in to do this. That like they basically said, "It's got we think one of these guys," and at the end of it, and he was the one that won it. They won the part. I mean,
how does one sweepstake?
I don't know. I don't know. I read that report and I was like, I don't know what this means.
I don't know what to do with that interpretation of the word sweepstake.
I don't either, but that's the word they used. All right. And I didn't like it then. I don't like it now.
Upon further consideration, I still don't like it.
I think basically they just like did an exhaustive search, and then I think what they mean by sweepstakes is they were like, hey, it's going to be one of these 6 guys, and they brought the 6 guys in, and then it turned out to be this guy. Like, I don't think it was an actual sweepstakes. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Does that, I mean, Clayface is one of those where it could possibly not matter in the slightest who you cast for it.
I think it will.
Doesn't, I mean, as far as like, it doesn't have to look like anybody if you don't want it to.
I mean,
so maybe it could, I mean, you could just put out a call at random. Hey, every casting, every freaking agent you've got, like, who's your best shot? Who's the guy you've always wanted to get some attention? Go for it. Give it a shot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but
I need a new guy no one's heard of. Who's the one that you've just been like, oh my God, I want to get this guy. Okay.
Yeah, it could have been that. It could have just been a call out to all agents. Like,
DM me.
Give me your best.
Slide it so I can ignore it.
But it's going to be like a body horror R-rated movie. So you don't want somebody that people know. Because that's how horror movies in general, like low budget horror movies, they cast people that you've never heard of.
Yeah.
To keep cost down. Nobody wants to go watch Tom Cruise get his dick cut off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because people have emotional attachments to people that are big. So you want somebody that you've never heard of before. You can keep costs down because the people who like that shit are gonna go. They want to go watch somebody get fucked up.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, you remember how risky it was in Cabin in the Woods when he had Hemsworth killed off?
That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, but it was also seen as very,
But it was also like a horror movie that wasn't like a pure horror movie. It was
a trope. It was for tropes.
It was for tropes, absolutely, but it was also like slightly a comedy in that way.
Right.
Where it was like, oh, this is and also Hemsworth wasn't that damn big yet.
Yeah, it was, the crest was rising, but it wasn't that.
Yeah. I think he had like one Thor under his belt.
Right. But very much the joke was, look at this guy you're expecting to, and we're going to off him.
Yeah.
But the whole script was fourth walled as fuck. So different application entirely.
I'm still sad the final girl in that film hasn't been bigger. She was good.
She was good. That threw me off. I forgot what I was going to tell you.
Sorry.
I was remembering that last scene thinking, yeah, she was really good. But,
like, dolphining.
Yeah. Oh, I think that was it. It would be nice and fun to have a horror movie where I didn't actually meet the main character. Like, just give me the trailer and it's never anyone. I just never know who's Clayface until the actual end of the movie.
Uh-huh.
Never actually do meet the actor or actress. I have no idea who the end.
Yeah. Maybe. But, the thing that I like about what Mike Flanagan has said about the movie is that it's based on Feet of Clay, or is inspired heavily by Feet of Clay from the animated series. Kind of think I need to see the guy. I need to see Matt Hagen. By the way, the Rap apparently the Rap claims to have done some digging and discovered that it is Matt Hagen.
It's just their best guess, and they're going to hope it's right when everything falls.
I mean, it would make sense if it was. I mean, if it's based on Feet of Clay at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good best guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did just run across a retelling of that Jaws story about how the reason there's so little in the film was just he couldn't fucking afford it and the robots didn't work yet.
Mm.
And that became the thing that was so damn genius about it, was there's so little of the big scary thing. And like the version of the events I heard at least was like, yeah, it was that way because he capitalized on the problem he had.
Mm-hmm.
Like he saw it for what it was, and he built around it. He didn't do it by accident. He saw it and he filled the gap, and that was genius. Mm-hmm. But it was created because everything fucking failed on set. That was supposed to have a lot of sharks in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it'd be like that.
No, sharks don't always work.
I wish we were big enough. See, that's the real reason. That's the real reason I want us to be really huge, a huge popular podcast. So I could just name our episodes Sharks Don't Work. Yeah. And not have to worry about the consequences of that.
Right. Just for you. Just so you can remember that was the part you enjoyed.
Yeah. Sometimes sharks don't work. Fuck it. I might do it anyway. What's going to hurt at this point?
I don't know. Probably all the SEO from needing to put Superman in there.
Yeah, probably. All right. So, on to the Batman Part 2. Gunn had some choice things to say about people bitching about Batman 2 not being out. He says, the only reason for the delay is there isn't a full script. Those of you who follow me here probably know that already. He says that Reeves is committed to making the best film he possibly can, and no one can accurately guess exactly how long a script will take to write. Once there's a finished script, there's around 2 years for pre-production, shooting, and post-production on big things. Now, he debunked a rumor that the first draft of Batman 2 is expected to be turned in, or was expected to be turned in and wasn't on Memorial Day. He says,
such a weird deadline.
Yeah, he said, we're supposed to be getting it this month in June. I hope that happens. We feel really good about it. Matt's excited. I talk to Matt all the time. I'm totally excited about it. So we can't wait to read the scripts, but we haven't read it yet. And he says people should get off Matt's nuts because it's Love like, it. let the guy write the screenplay in the amount of time he needs to write it. That's just the way it is. He doesn't owe you something because you like his movie. I mean, you like his movie because of Matt. So let Matt do things the way he does.
He's been very structured and well worded with a lot of his press recently, but there's almost an edge of frustration. He said nuts and fucking twice in just the bits you've pulled so far.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's slightly loose collared.
Oh yeah, and I'm here for it, dude.
Yeah, I'm digging it.
And he says that Reeves is not on social media very much. He pays little attention to the noise.
He's got some shit going on.
Gunn says he's got a lot of other things happening, so I don't think he lets it affect him. He's fine, but I am irritated by people. He says, it's just that thing people don't need to be entitled about. It's going to come out when he feels good about the screenplay, and Matt's not going to give me the screenplay until he feels good about the screenplay. And then with Rolling Stone, he also said, Matt's slow. Let him take his time. Let him do what he's doing. God, people are so mean. Let him do his thing, man.
Off his nuts. Got you. Okay.
Yeah. Which, people are frustrated by this sentiment and they're angry with James Gunn for saying that. And I hate to tell you, actually, I don't. I love to be able to tell you that is exactly the attitude you want from someone who is running DC Studios or any studio. You don't want people's threatening jobs and telling them, crank it out, crank it out, crank it out. We got a deadline. Some marginal section of the audience might forget that there was a Robert Pattinson Batman. They're not going to forget. Not anyone who matters.
You'll keep the bulk.
It'll be a negligible amount.
I don't think negligible. It will be negligible.
It will be a negligible amount of people who just forget that there was a Batman Part 1.
Yeah.
Like most people will remember, oh yeah, that was a thing. But, as I've been saying, we got the Penguin just a minute ago. That also totally derailed what Matt Reeves was doing.
Tom King had a habit of doing this, though, in like the second half of, I don't know, I didn't get Human Target on its scheduled times. I got it kind of after in little packets. But the ones that I got of Tom King's I was getting them as they were released, he had all of them that I remember. The big series were delayed at some point, I think. And he would just straight up say, like, yeah, it's not ready.
Yeah.
There was no real explanation. Yeah, I mean, it's not ready, and we need a little bit more time, and I'll see you soon. And that's all it really amounted to, is it'd be delayed for like a month, maybe two, I think, at worst on one occasion, like on Rorschach, I want to say. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it just wasn't that big of a fucking deal.
Yeah,
we just waited a month.
I get it when it's certain things, like Joe Madureira back in the day was one of the biggest comic book artists. He got huge doing Uncanny X-Men. I loved Joe Mad's work. He left that Uncanny X-Men, that huge fucking book, to do his own book. He was going to write and draw it. It's called Battle Chasers. He did like 9 issues, and it took something like 20 years for the 10th issue to come out, like legitimately. And he didn't even draw the 10th book.
That is, all right. That's rough.
That's bullshit.
That's some Beach Boys bullshit is what that is. But
that's bullshit.
That there's going to be extremes to any behavior. But yeah, for the most part, skipping a month or two or just delaying for a second, it's not that big. I mean, I listen to a ton of journalistically leaning podcasts. Like my favorite genre of podcast is probably like slightly journalistic, but a little bit funny. Mm-hmm. But better than anything we're trying to do, of course. But like, I can't say anything without actually having a dig at us in the middle of it. It just doesn't make sense to. So,
yeah, no. You do what you got to do, man.
You understand.
I'm not scared of it. I'm not scared of it. Going to do it. Dig it.
Anyway, yeah, let's. I forget where I was even going with that too. But yeah, it's my favorite little subset. There is that little version.
Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry, man?
Nah, depends on the day. Mostly no.
Yeah, there are definitely days where I want to make myself cry.
I mean, it's only when you whip out 16 pages of notes or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, what am I supposed to do, man? What am I supposed to do? Look.
Ignore more.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying so hard. So, yeah. Everybody is still asking, is there a chance that Pattinson's Batman will be DCU? Gunn is still saying, I would never say zero chance because you just never know, but it's not likely. It's not likely at all. So
I don't really see it unless they just like, what if they just sort of abandon, like if Reeves just sort of says, nah, and if you want to, go for it. That might be a way that it actually proceeds that way.
I mean, maybe, but
Didn't he say that he was the only one holding out?
Yep. Pretty much. But at the same time, that was true at a certain point.
True. That was like 4 or 5 months ago.
Well, no, that was years ago.
Was it?
And I guess it does come up probably from time to time, but
might have just been when we rehashed it recently.
Anyway, Mr. Miracle. This is an exciting announcement. Mr. Miracle adult animated series has been announced. Tom King is the showrunner.
This will be interesting for him.
I am very, very excited. All right,
going to be funny. Like I was just bragging about how he, like I was happy he skips occasionally. That's where I was going with the journalistic thing is they'll skip occasionally and get, hey, cool, we couldn't get the story straight. Cool. I'll see you next week. But like, yeah, I like the skipping occasionally, but the TV's different. He's not going to be able to do that with TV.
No, I don't think so. But at the same time, he's already written the damn thing. It's a comic. He'll have writers, adapt.
In theory, he did the hard part.
If you don't know what Mr. Miracle is, which I realize some people don't, like, it's a very, very old character, came from the 70s, but there was Mr. Miracle. Tom King and Mitch Gerads did a book called Mr. Miracle that was based on that character back in 2017. It's a super escape artist, Scott Free, And we'll do the little log line for DC Studios' Mr. Miracle. No prison can hold him. No trap can contain him. He is scot-free, the worldwide celebrity sensation known as Mr. Miracle, and he is the greatest escape artist who ever lived. But can he pull off the ultimate trick and escape death itself? Something has gone horribly wrong with the perfect life that Scott and his warrior wife Big Barda have built for themselves on Earth. With war raging between their home worlds of Apocalypse and New Genesis, Scott's cruel adoptive father Darkseid seems to have finally captured the anti-life equation, the ultimate weapon that will give Darkseid total dominance over the universe. As the mountains of bodies on both sides grow ever higher, only Mr. Miracle can stop the slaughter and restore peace. But the terrible power of the anti-life equation may already be at work in his own mind, warping his reality, exposing his long-buried pain, and shattering the fragile happiness he's found with the woman he loves. And so begins the odyssey of Scott Free, Mr. Miracle, a harrowing, hilarious, heart-wrenching journey across the pitfalls of the ordinary and extraordinary, as the Son of God, raised by the devil, tries to save his family, his world, and maybe even himself.
And somehow that doesn't do it justice.
It doesn't do it justice at all. I've seen some people being like, I don't want DCU's Darkseid to show up in a fucking comedy cartoon.
I mean,
it's not a comedy, though.
It's not. The thing is, like,
there are parts that are hilarious of the book.
There really are. The parts that are funny are outright funny, but the parts that are tragic are truly so. When did you say that was announced? This week?
That was announced at the Annecy Animation Festival this past Thursday. Or maybe the Thursday before. I can't remember, but it was one of those.
I'm going to do a quick little shout out for us here. June 15th, 2019 was when you and I posted our Mr. Miracle review on Patreon. An hour and 3 minutes of that little bastard.
So good.
That is hour and 3 of us going over the book. You can wait to the end for Dave to give you the whole pitch, but I think it's worth it.
Patreon.com/DC on screen. I'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the TLDR version.
Yeah. You know what? The funniest thing that I remember from that book, though, and it's been a minute since I've read it, is the veggie dip. Yeah. Like they are having basically like the Geneva Convention in Mr. Miracle and Barda's fucking apartment, and Darkseid, Lord of Apocalypse, the Alpha and the Omega, as he claims, shows up and is just like
the man who is
awkwardly, gigantically sitting on this little couch with a veggie, like a plastic veggie platter, like eating carrots.
Yeah.
As you would. Like, I love that. It's something that Joss Whedon did very well. And I know that's like a dirty name and shit at this point, and it should be. Fuck him. But it's one of the things that I really liked about his work back in the day was he would take these larger than life characters that you never see outside of a certain epic nature. Like you're always presented with this, like, grandeur, and you take those characters and you say, okay, well, but what's the reality of his character? What's the reality of life? Motherfucker has to eat.
Mundanify them.
Yeah. So there's like a bit where you're just like, you're going to have this epic speech from Darkseid, and then he like walks away from his thralls of adoring slaves, and he goes into like a little side kitchen and, pops open some soda, or is just like, fuck, I need some candy, like something like that.
Yeah. And
I do enjoy that shit.
And
it doesn't bother me. It doesn't make me feel like it takes me out. It puts me in further in a way.
Yeah. My memory of that book too is it's very much they kind of have like they almost don't even remember why they buy. You just buy veggie trays to have for things for people over, almost kind of thing. And then like Darkseid's like, man, you eat these things when you're here. It just seems so like everyone's just participating in the existence of the veggie tray.
Yeah.
It's like a character in this. It stood out for a reason. I felt like it was such a hilarious thing to brought in.
But it also feels weird and real in a way that's like, you remember a while back, like years ago, where like reports started coming out that like Kim Jong, dictator of North Korea, was like, they were all worried because they were like, we can't get him to stop eating cheese. Like, the doctors say it's not good for him. He's sick. He's literally sick. Like, he's got a condition. But he won't
The doctor told him it was bad for him. What happened? He went to a new doctor. What happened to the old doctor? He killed him. What happened to the old doctor?
Yeah, he didn't like his prognosis.
This happened 14 times before we realized what had happened.
I hope I'm not just remembering a weird Onion article or something, but I feel like that was a real story.
That one feels like it could borderline be a dream, but I could also completely see that one.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, officially, like, he's in great health, like, because they just fucking lie.
Kill whatever doctor doesn't say that, yeah.
Right, but then there's also, like, no, he might go any day. Like,
Yeah.
His arteries are clogged full of cheese. God, I'm going to, like, look at this later and be like, I must have dreamed that. This is not real.
Yeah. You know, normally when I say unhealthy, it's over decades, it's cumulative behavior. No, this is more like crack open your chest and shove a wedge of Parmesan in a vein. Oh. So he's going to die then? Yeah. Of this. Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's real. 2017, Jason.
You found it.
Yes. Kim Jong-un had to retreat from public life after eating too much mental cheese. After a large shipment, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's weird. Yes, he devours all of the cheese and wine, New York Post says. Suffering discomfort after addiction to Swiss. Yes, this is real. Yes. These are, if it was not real, it was a thing that was widely reported.
Yeah. Mandela cheese. Eating a cheese I've never even heard of. That's
fantastic. My God. I don't know.
Now I want to try it.
I don't know the legitimacy of this, but it says metro.co.uk says North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un has lost so much weight because COVID border closures have stopped him getting hold of Swiss cheese. Oh, Los Angeles Times, Stephen Colbert examines North Korea's cheese crisis. Thank God. God, sometimes you're just like, please tell me I didn't just cook that up in my
I've been there.
Weird brain.
I've been there.
All right.
I've been there. I mean, I constantly tell you the same story over and over again and have...
Yes, you do.
Or not even the same story. It's not so much the same story as the problem. That's fine. Yeah,
it is. That is the problem.
Separate problem.
That is a problem.
Separate problem. The one I'm referring to is more like I'll have the same response. But it'll be like I'll go on like a monologue twice. But the only thing that has given me any comfort is that you have yet to tell me that I have like contradicted myself so far.
Mm-hmm. Well, part of that's probably because I stopped listening.
Yes. Which is good though, because like the day that I contradict myself so much that it actually perks your attention, then we have to worry.
I think part of the charm of our friendship and part of the reason it works so well is because we both do that. We both tell each other the same stories over and over again. But our memories are both so bad that we listen to the stories and we're like, I remember something about this. What was it again? And we're being honest.
Yeah. We just started being two seniors when we were in our 30s.
Oh, sweetie, I started long before that.
I said we.
Oh.
We weren't a we until then.
Okay. Fair enough.
Maybe late 20s.
You're right.
No, it was mid-20s, bro.
It was 20. Yeah, it's 2009 or 2010, something like that, when we really started being friends.
Time has passed.
It has.
I want cheese.
I mean, hilariously, I ate 2 string cheese. You know what I mean? What I'm talking about? Like the... Yeah.
Delightful little guys.
Yeah. The cheese heads. The Frigo cheese heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. I ate 2 of those sons of bitches before you called me for this show.
I look, Kim, I get it, man. I have to be careful around that stuff too, but...
Yeah, that's not... Well, I'm not going to condemn him for that. That's, there's a lot of other shit you can talk about with Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, there's plenty we won't see eye to eye on, but that part I can sympathize with slightly.
If you put me in a room with him and then you were like, hey man, neither of you can kill each other.
Yeah.
But, you have to find something to talk about.
Well, no, I mean, the
cheese.
These things happen.
I like cheese.
Yeah. Hunter S. Thompson used to say that him and Richard Nixon, I think while Nixon was president, I want to say, or some shit like that. Like, had like 30 minutes alone together at some point. And, you know, given the relationship, you'd think it would just be a brawl of some kind. It was like, no, we talked about college football for 30 minutes. He was actually pretty knowledgeable. We both knew about some high school recruits and stuff. Like, they had an in-depth, like a nerd out, wonked about college football and who was on top and who should be on top for a while. It was the only thing they had really done. Moved on.
Yeah, I mean...
I mean, other than that, it was like everybody knew each other's stances. What are you going to do, yell at each other for 30 minutes? I already know who you are. You don't know who I am. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. See, this is what, like, people in power do. Yet I can't go home for Father's Day without hearing some bullshit about, well, you know, Biden did them. Fuck you. Like, can't we just talk about the cat that's sitting on top of Mom's car?
Yeah. Yeah.
We both know what cats do. It's mildly entertaining. We both watched X-Files together. Does it have to be about Trump versus Biden? Does it have to be that? We're not going to agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't it just be better if we... I forget who it was I talked to recently that I just stopped him mid-sentence and said, hey, I just don't know where you're going with that, but I do know that you haven't said anything yet that I feel like I'm going to have anything that I can say anything about. What this isn't something me and you need to discuss, man. And he was like, well, I was just thinking, I hear what you're thinking, but I don't think anything here is something me and you should touch on. Mm-hmm. And we moved on.
Yeah.
I forget what we talked about next, but it wasn't what the fuck he was about to bring up.
Yeah. Like, good God. Anyway. Hey, here's something you have no interest in.
Oh, fun.
July 3rd is when Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League
Knew it was going to be that.
is officially on HBO Max for free, quote unquote. So there you go on that. If you've been biding your time. And, you know, the first one was really popular. Batman Ninja did really well.
Yeah.
It sold a lot. CGI looks cool. I don't know what I'm looking like. I watched Batman Ninja and I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but it's entertaining. It's like, you know, fucking.
I don't know, the name alone is going to get serious views.
I mean, it's, you know, Batman Ninja was Batman whisked away to the past, to feudal Japan. And that was interesting. That was fun. It was a weird little story. And this one I'm seeing, you know, Batman versus like Yakuza versions of the Justice League. That shit looks dope. Like he's in a mech and shit. Like, I don't know. It's not something you're going to enjoy, but you know, I think if you know, broke down some of your walls, you would.
I've tried.
But
I've tried. It's borderline an open invitation for anyone to come over here with a damn copy of Cowboy Bebop or some shit and show me, but I just haven't ever had. But
did you never saw Cowboy Bebop?
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay. Still couldn't get into it.
I just didn't. I couldn't understand.
Yeah, because you had that ex, and I was like, I would be shocked if she didn't try to show you that.
And that was the one that was picked, and I kind of got to the end and was like, so we gonna watch like BTAS? That's what I've been watching recently, or
yeah. I'll be honest with you, man. Like,
I think we just probably threw on some Community.
I still haven't watched Cowboy Bebop. I want to because I've heard if you like Firefly, you will like this. I haven't gotten to it yet. What I do like and what I would think, I'd be shocked if she didn't show you some Miyazaki.
Might have, or at least I've wandered through it probably.
Yeah. My intro to that was Kiki's Delivery Service. The English dub, Phil Hartman played the cat, the little black cat. It was basically like an anime version of Salem from Sabrina.
Yeah.
It was just like Phil Hartman going like, what the hell's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Nah. You know, it was that I was going to watch Phil Hartman.
I mean, yeah.
And it was a delightful little film. That was my intro to anime. And I have gone back for, 2 or 3, 4 or 5, I don't know, a number of Miyazaki films. Howl's Moving Castle was very good. Spirited Away was less good, but still interesting. I'm sure that there's something I'm forgetting that I've seen.
I mean, Spirited's the one that your average person could name if they didn't. Well, they could do the fill in the blank probably for it, at least. Most people know the title.
Mean-Spirited?
Spirited Away, I thought.
Spirited Away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Spirited Away had some really neat visuals, and it had an interesting story, and it did sag a little in the middle for me. But Princess Mononoke was good. I really liked that one. I think all that to say, I think if you're going to get into it, it's going to be from like a more original idea.
Yeah, probably.
Than just being like, let me adapt your superhero in a way that you're not going to understand.
Yeah, that is a good point. There's also a certain amount of, even with the mech situation, like there is no trope in anime that I'm familiar with that I haven't seen done somewhere else in DC at this point. Not a lot of new stuff you can do with a set of bat ears.
Right. Whoa. Yeah, don't say that. People get upset about that.
I mean, it's a pretty deliberate reference. There was a thing a few years ago that was literally done new with the bat ears, but that's,
yeah,
those are few and far between.
Well, like Gunn literally said something very close to that we're going to get to here in a second.
Oh, fun.
And people have been really angry about him saying that.
Yeah.
But do you still good to keep going?
I'll take you up on that break this time.
All right, we're going to go to break.
You win.
I mean, we're getting to the WBT portion, and it's just going to be a free-for-all of different things, of different, like, one-off conversation pieces here, and,
Interesting. I mean, the tally's been live so far, so what page are we on?
Oh, what page are we on, Jason?
Yeah.
Oh, no. We are on page 10.
Okay, gotcha.
10 of 16, man.
Lovely. That's progress.
Hell yeah.
That's
all right.
See, that's a good break spot. That's a great break spot.
It's a pretty good break spot. All right, we'll be right back. And we've got so much news. Come back. Don't.
I love how that ended with a question mark so quickly. That started with, all right, let's come back.
I didn't mean to do a question mark. All right, go pee.
All
right, everybody, we are back in the saddle, and it is time for my favorite segment, WBT.
It's a decent clip.
It's more fun than just saying miscellaneous.
It is.
You remember back when there was a whole like, Guillermo del Toro is going to do Justice League Dark. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then how it got shuttered and
thousands of years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, back in the old days.
Mm-hmm.
So in that Entertainment Weekly interview, they were like, hey, that Guillermo del Toro Justice League Dark thing seems like it'd be right up your alley. And Gunn says, yeah, by the way, Guillermo's never said that to me. I hear all these things about Guillermo would love to do Justice League Dark. Well, Guillermo's never said that to me. Just let Steven Spielberg do his Blackhawks movie that he wants to do. Steven Spielberg, who I love above anyone else, has never said that to me. So these things get blown out of proportion. Years and years ago, I said I wanted to make a Thunderbolts movie. I was in a convention somewhere and somebody asked me, what did I want to do that wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy? I said Thunderbolts. For years and years, it's like, James Gunn should be allowed to make his Thunderbolts movie. I have a million things that I thought I wanted to do at certain moments. So yeah, that's interesting. I know we somewhat recently, within the past year, had Guillermo talking about like, oh yeah, I don't really want to do that because it's always going to get screwed by the studio, and it went through all these things. He may have just been burnt beyond desiring to do it.
Yeah. Which is funny because I hadn't thought about it, but he was probably right because that would be an accurate assessment given the studio at the time. But he also might have just been taking a chance to take a piss on him. And that was a decision that was made 3 years ago. Like, it's just an easy shot to take if you wanted to, but a completely fair one.
Yeah, for Guillermo. But I think, if this comes out and we see this in the news and people are talking about it, like, why don't you talk to James Gunn about it? And I think Guillermo, he, as Gunn pointed out, like, they own a restaurant together. He and Guillermo.
That's funny.
They know each other. They're friends. But yeah, I think there's a possibility at some point that this comes up again. I'm sure it will, and Guillermo might be like, oh, maybe I can talk to him about it, or maybe he's just lost interest at this point.
Yeah, might have just moved on.
Yeah, might have. Maybe
completely, maybe not at all. Maybe just waiting for the right time to bring it up over a shrimp cocktail or whatever the fuck restaurant they have together.
Now, he also was speaking about Creature Commandos. A fan on Threads wondered if it was possible for the princess to return from the dead. And someone else said, I mean, it is DC, so no one stays down forever. And Gunn says, in the DCU, if you die, you are dead.
Yeah. He had a similar note about that on the DC showcase. Oh
yeah, he did. Because they were like,
that's a very long name.
Collis is in the background, so the DC showcase, yeah. Because they were like, oh yeah, the Collis is in the background, and they could resurrect, and he was just like, nah, you're dead.
Yeah,
she's dead.
Yeah,
it's like, unless you're a robot, you're dead. Like, pretty much.
It was funny. The girl asking questions kind of like she kind of responds like I know you were going to say that, but it still hurts to hear, kind of thing. Like, yeah, I feel you. I'm right there with you, man. Because he basically, I think she posed it to him like, yeah, you know what I mean, like, but is there a chance we're going to get her back? And he says, dude, it wouldn't matter if I did things like that. And he goes on about it.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, he went on about it on Threads because someone asked him like, "Oh, so you're not going to use the Lazarus Pit? Don't you think this rule will limit you from using established elements of DC Comics lore like the Lazarus Pit?" And he says, "Well, I wouldn't mind using the Lazarus Pit or a resurrection story, but it would have to be a part of the story itself. I won't be killing major characters just to pop them in the old Lazarus Pit to be alive again."
Yeah, organic matters here.
He says what backfires more is people believing there are no stakes and death doesn't mean anything. Dead is dead.
Yeah. I mean, he already kind of really looked like he killed some people in Creature Commandos and kind of borderline got away with like, I do love the old Reddit joke about like, yeah, he didn't lose his shoe. He's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I almost saw some shoes come off. They got beat so bad on that show.
Mm-hmm.
He's already toying with the line a little bit, but yeah, the line still has to matter.
Yeah, and it is James Gunn, so he's sneaky, and
you can't rule that out.
Like the fact that people are like, oh, you can't use this character because he's dead, and you killed him in the Suicide Squad, and he's like, you never saw a body.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, but there was a monitor in the background that showed he had a heartbeat. So
yeah,
he might not be dead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Never saw a body. He went between the starfish's toes. Cool man's fine, or polka dot man's fine.
Yeah. So this is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is exciting to me. He was talking to Entertainment Weekly, and they asked about what's next for the DCU after Clayface. And Gunn says, well, then there's another TV show. That's my favorite thing in all of this. That is hopefully getting made soon. It's just my favorite thing. And then there's the movie. Oh shit. I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not say, but there's a couple of other things, a couple other movies that are being written, one of which is in pretty good shape. Another which is kind of closer to the start, but we feel positive about. And then there's a thing I'm writing, which I think is okay. So what will be the next thing after Clayface is not 100% certain, but it's pretty certain. And they asked how much of these undisclosed titles are things that have already been announced versus things that haven't. And he says, my favorite thing has not been announced at all. One of the scripts people kind of know about. My script people don't know about. The other script people don't know about. So it's mostly stuff people don't know about. A couple of those things announced in January of 23 are in pretty good shape in terms of coming up. But there was one thing that I knew about from the very beginning that when I pitched to David Zaslav what the DCU would be, I pitched to him, but we did not announce in that first meeting because I felt like it was too easy to rip off by another company. And so that's one of the main things.
That's going to leave a lot of speculation.
Mm-hmm. And they said, is there anything more that you can say about this mystery project that you're writing next?
And he said, ambush bug. Gotcha.
Is this the project that you'll direct next? And he says, well, I'll always leave saying I'm going to direct something until I'm actually done with the screenplay. And then I say, yeah, I want to do this. But it's probably what I will direct. Yeah, probably. To be totally realistic, yes, probably. So yeah, we don't know what that is. I am excited, and I can't help but like notice and like point out Tom King is a major player in DCU.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Gunn's ear.
Yeah. He's in the inner cabinet.
Are you fucking telling me his New Gods movie, he's just gonna like not bring that in any capacity? Like, yeah. I get if they like can't do what Ava wanted to do because Ava DuVernay was like part of it, and she was going to direct it at some point.
But they were worried at the time that it was going to feel too much like Eternals, and then Eternals didn't do well.
I think no, like Warner Brothers blamed New Gods dying on Zack using Darkseid in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh,
that is exactly what that was officially what Warner Brothers said. They were like, "Oh yeah, we were going to do new world or new fourth world. We were going to do all that New Gods, and then we told Zack not to use Darkseid in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and then he did it anyway. So that's why you don't get New Gods."
Yeah, that's just a lie. We told him not to, and then he spent like $100 million doing it anyway, right under our noses. Just right under our noses.
I mean, it was already there. It was already in the movie. Like, they're like, okay, you can do Snyder Cut, but you can't do the fucking Snyder Cut that you already have. Fuck you. That's not true.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Hired that actor, and he spelled his name all kinds of different when we saw the paper. I'll tell you that right now. Wasn't spelled like that.
Yeah, but I think the real thing was like they were trying to get away from. They had already said Zack Snyder's Justice League is a cul-de-sac, and we're not going further.
Yeah,
and I don't know if you remember this, but Tom King was pretty vocal on when people were like, "Is New Gods going to be in Zack Snyder's universe, or is it going to be like part of the Hamadaverse?" And Tom King is just like winking and saying like, "Oh yeah, I mean we got some stuff going on." Like, I think that's what it was. The Warner Brothers was like, "Okay, no,
get out of here, you winky bastard!
You're not connecting this."
Yeah,
but like that was one of the funniest things to me is like almost everybody that came after took pains, like went out of their way to make sure that their universe was like in Zack's universe. You know what I mean? Like it was that like little nod, like, yeah, we see what y'all did to Zack, so fuck y'all.
Mm-hmm.
This is here. Like, yeah, Jeff Johns is behind the scenes making fun of it, but we're sliding little things in.
Yeah. They left like a piece of this and that here and there.
Yeah. It might be an abomination upon the screen. I'm sorry, The Flash, but you did try.
Yeah.
Y'all did try to make it where you were in Zack's universe. I'll give him that. It was
something.
It's only so much you can do when the entire I don't know what you call it. The entire hierarchy of Warner Brothers is breathing down your neck and not allowing you to make a good movie.
Yeah,
it's hard to make a good movie, period. But at that point, you're just fucked.
Yeah, I love that Conan phrase about the. Takes a lot of incredibly, wonderfully, amazingly talented people to come together and work really hard to make a terrible movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes that just to get that much done.
Yep.
Much less a good one.
Yep. Alrighty. So let's talk a little bit about Batman's DCU timeline.
All right. It's going to get weird, maybe.
Well, a little bit.
All right.
So there were some fan discussions that were sparked by events in Creature Commandos.
Mm-hmm.
Involving the chronology of Dr. Phosphorus's villainous career and his encounter with Batman. And someone said, like, look, Phosphorus may have been operating for a really long time after his transformation and his murder of Rupert Thorne, which would mean Batman arrived on the scene way later. And that would mean that, Batman could never meet Rupert Thorne, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Gunn says, yes, you are right. it would be silly to assume Dr. Phosphorus met Batman the minute he became Phosphorus. And he also says, I wouldn't, because remember in the show, Dr. Phosphorus says, I haven't been touched in 15 years. So Gunn says, I would not even trust Phosphorus's sense of time or his proclivity for hyperbole. So it's a little unreliable narrator. We don't know when he became Dr. Phosphorus for real. Was it 15 years?
I mean, okay. Also, if we're going full unreliable narrator, was it Batman? Are we sure about that? I can't remember how that went down. Was that outside confirmation?
I mean, it was like Batman did it was the one who captured him, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wonder if that was on a record somewhere, if it was just him saying, yeah, Batman got me.
Well, yeah. Well, no, we saw it. Like Phosphorus was in charge of Rupert Thorne's activity, all of his bullshit after he killed Thorne. He took over his operation. And then we got the skylight with Batman looking down and coming in. Yeah, it was Batman.
Well, I mean, just don't want to find out later it was, some rookie cop or Tim Drake's audition tape.
So yeah, people were like, "Oh, has Batman been active for 15 years already, or did he come in way after Phosphorus was already in charge?" Mm-hmm. And Gunn is basically saying none of this shit might be true.
Yeah,
some version of this happened, but you can't trust Phosphorus. He's crazy.
See, you got to wonder though. He just talked about how much he regretted Adam Warlock recently.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It makes you wonder. Is we watch him go through these stages where right now he's the most excited about that thing that he's doing. We've been covering this so long that the most excited thing he'd ever done was write this Superman thing he just finished, and then Create Your Commandos. Right? He gets excited about things as he's doing them.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been around so long, and we've been doing this so long, of course, that we've seen him regret things and say it openly, which is kind of funny. Yep. Funny place to be in.
I'm fine with that. It happens, dude. It's hard. It's hard to be a creative. I mean, for Christ's sake, man, they just put out a 6-page preview that Mark Waid has written from the perspective of Barry Allen, who has now become basically a chronicler of history. And that's where they're heading with the comics right now, where he's got all these artifacts from across the different timelines of the multiverse and the different versions of the timeline that he's living in. Because he's talking about all these different agents who change time and things get fuzzy. So now that's what he's doing. He's seen enough of the multiverse. He's seen enough of all the different versions of time that he's just trying to keep a history of the DC universe. It's a neat idea.
Mm-hmm.
And, and that all comes from, it's a neat idea from Mark Waid, but it all comes from the idea that as these creatives move on and create new stories in the comics and across TV and movies and all these things, shit gets changed. Little things get changed. And, you could always write in something like that at a certain point if you're James Gunn or anybody that says yeah, well, at one point, Batman had been around for 15 years and he took Dr. Phosphorus in. But then there was a little shift in reality, and now Batman's been around for 7 years.
Yeah, something like that. He got hit with an aging stick somewhere. I mean, there's some magic sticks that do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, I mean, Gunn even he expressed some trepidation even about that shot over the shoulder, where he was worried about if we make him look like this, I'll be stuck with that, and he's been worried about that the whole time. Not surprised he's done. Yeah. I'm not surprised to see him almost backpedaling well, I don't know about any of it really, I guess. Yeah.
Well, also the phosphorus thing is a very specific issue. Because Phosphorus he is nuts.
Oh, yeah.
He's been broken mentally. That was clear on the show.
Sure.
And that's also something that people try to get mad about with Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Mm-hmm. And they're oh, there are no heroic males. Why the fuck would there be? Harley is an unreliable narrator who just got out of a terrible fucking relationship with a horribly abusive clown man.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, she's broken in so many ways for so many different reasons.
That's a good point.
Latest of which,
by your interpretation, if you want the all-dude movie, then we would have to set it after she has the same heartbreaking moment with Ivy, and she'll do an all-dude movie. And
Maybe.
then you'll get that, and everyone will be happy, I guess, and we'll have the sequel.
Yeah.
Like, it is a weird thing to be hung up on in general. Yeah, we're in this movie
is.
about Harley Quinn and the birds of prey, plural, feminine, plural.
Uh-huh.
And then complain about the lack of dudes hitting things also.
Every man in there was a bad guy. Yeah, well, that sounds like real life, too,
And
doesn't it?
yeah.
In a lot of ways. Like, I mean, here you are, complaining. Oh, God. Like, no, it's like, oh, this is silly. Yes, fucking Harley's crazy. Harley is very silly. She has a silly brain.
She does a musical number, out of the pre-CTE halfway through, or not even pre, probably. But yeah, like she has a musical number halfway through. What do you want from her, man?
She's deeply, deeply lost her sense of reality.
Yeah.
And that is a Harley Quinn thing.
Yeah. Whatever's there is just there by accident.
Yeah. Hell, that's part of the appeal to me. I'm like, hell yeah, we don't have to worry about tone or anything in this movie. This is all from Harley's perspective. This is crazy.
Yeah. And she might
yeah.
occasionally drop into a completely timid demeanor and say some seriously intellectual shit, and you just got to roll with that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not terribly worried about what Dr. Phosphorus says.
No, not necessarily.
Except for the fact that, by the way, it's Alan Tudyk. And are you caught up on Resident Alien?
No. I saw the premiere of the season, but that's it.
Please.
I know.
Please.
I know. Like as soon as we're done. I'm not kidding. That's I have the devices set up on the rowing machine, and that's what we're doing is watching Resident Alien and rowing my way to wherever.
It's so good. They haven't skipped a beat on quality, dude. Like it's so good.
Yeah, episode 1 was pretty great. But yeah,
All right.
Back to Phosphorus. But please feel free to let Phosphorus explain himself as much as possible. Tudyk will be doing it.
Yes, exactly. But also just don't take anything he says too seriously.
Yeah, because Tudyk did it.
Because Tudyk did it, and James Gunn wrote it, and he's a nuts character.
Between the two of them, they might be fucking with you.
He's completely been broken.
Yeah. All
right, so Gunn explained that a very famous actor pitched an Elseworlds film. He says he was talking about how the script has to be good, and they're not going to make it if it's not. And he says the script still needs to be good. We're not going to make it unless we like the script. But I think that there are exceptions. I told it to one person who came in and pitched something that was an Elseworlds tale. It was a very, very, very famous movie actor. I said, it depends on how the screenplay comes out. If it's a masterpiece, I'll make it. But it has to be a masterpiece. And then he laughs. And then he goes, and he is like, well, I don't know if it's a masterpiece. He got all funny. He's still working on it, though. He's still trying to do it. So we'll see. Masterpiece might be pushing it. But it's got to be really great. If it's an Elseworlds tale, then it's worth telling something that might tend to confuse a few people. But also part of our thing is really being clear about what is Elseworlds and what is DCU. I love this idea, and I don't know who it would be, but I love this idea that some big, huge, famous actor came in and pitched a thing, and Gunn was like, it's got to be a masterpiece. I don't know about that. I love it. Like, he's bumming out these huge stars.
I just imagine Matthew McConaughey for no good reason.
I don't know.
Could be.
Who it would
be
be.
Anybody. Grab somebody off the top of the pile. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I like to imagine it was Tom Cruise.
I mean, if you say big star, that's one of the only few that left that really has the title. So,
yeah, I think it was James Cagney.
Right.
It was
the ghost of Burt Reynolds.
It was Rhett Butler.
Yeah.
The zombie corpse of Bing Crosby.
Or whatever's left of Brett Butler.
All right. So they asked him, does the inclusion of certain villains in Reeves' Batman epic crime saga preclude them from also appearing in the DCU? Gunn says no, but both the crime saga and the DCU are a part of DC Studios, so we of course take everything into account. But he did say there's no die-hard rule.
Of course.
So we might see something. Somebody will pull back on that and be like, see, he said that they're not going to do. No, he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
No die-hard rule. No die-hard rule.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things that got people mad that he said in the Rolling Stone profile. He said that Batman was his biggest issue of all in DC right now. And Batman is being prioritized along with Wonder Woman. They did reveal that we've talked about that last news episode, that he is writing, or they're working on a Wonder Woman script right now. And James says, I am not writing Batman, but I am working with the writer of Batman and trying to get it right. And he did clarify, I think, in the Rolling Stone interview, that they are still calling it at the moment Brave and the Bold.
They'll drop it eventually.
They will. They definitely will. That's too long.
Yeah, it'll just be called Batman.
Yeah, we've seen that trend over and over, and he cuts shit. So
Brave.
Yeah. He says, I'm working with the writer of Batman, trying to get it right because he's incredibly important to DC, as is Wonder Woman. So outside of the stuff that I'm doing and the projects that are actively going, our two priorities are finishing our Wonder Woman and Batman scripts. And he went on to say that there's an issue of differentiating the DCU Batman from Reeves Batman, who is in year 2 of being a vengeful vigilante by the time of the Batman. He says the biggest difference is that Brave and the Bold is based on Batman and Son by Grant Morrison. And that story focused on a more established Batman who has already mentored multiple Robins, of course, and has a son, Damian Wayne. And he says Batman has to have a reason for existing, right? So Batman can't just be, we're making a Batman movie because Batman's the biggest character in all of Warner Brothers, which he is. But because there's a need for him in the DCU, and a need that he's not exactly the same as Matt's Batman. But yet, he's not a campy Batman. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in a funny, campy Batman, really. So we're dealing with that. I think I have a way in, by the way. I think I really know what it's about. I just am dealing with the writer to make sure that we can make it a reality. And then he goes on to say, let me see, I separated those two things for some reason.
Dealing with the writer sounds so ominous.
It does sound ominous, doesn't it? I did feel that way. Boop, boop, boop. Anyway, he just said, I don't know where I put that.
Sorry, fella.
Yeah, I know. He has a whole thing where he says that, every Batman story's been told, essentially.
Yeah.
And people are like, no, it hasn't been. You could do this, you could do that. And I'm like, he's talking about all across comics.
Yeah.
Like, he's not talking about
the 2 movies we've seen.
Right. He's not talking about, like, whatever it is, 4, let's say 10 Batman movies, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm probably forgetting something in there, but he's not just talking about those. He's talking about, like, across all the animation, all the comic books, all the Batman stories have been told. Yeah. And Gunn wants to tell a Batman story that we've never seen before. He doesn't want to do a Batman movie where you're just going to be like, well, this, the comic book version of Under the Red Hood was better because of blah, 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 blah. No, you don't want that. You don't want that. Just like, he's hugely inspired by All-Star Superman, but he's not telling All-Star Superman. That is not this story.
Just in pure mass, like, just take all of the on-screen movie Batmans you've ever seen story-wise. Mm-hmm. But because Batman shows up in so many titles across DC in just a comic form, like, he'll do more stories than that in 1 year in print than you've seen in all of the entirety of Batman in a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know, by March or April, probably. Like, not even a contest.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, just the stories are out there, and Gunn's read them. Like, I'm not saying, I'm not trying to oversell how much he's read things, but, like, yeah, he's actually read a lot of these comics.
Yep. And, by the way, because I guess there's a certain amount of hubris now because of this new Superman movie and what it seems to be going toward, I'm seeing a lot of the, I'm seeing a lot of the ugliness from the other side popping back up, of just, like, really hateful anti-Snyder stuff about how he didn't understand the character and he was a shitty like, y'all all need to chill the fuck out.
Yeah, no room for that now.
There's no reason for it. Like, it's the same shit that we got when we liked BVS back in the day. I'm like, can we like Snyder sat there and read all the same shit.
Yeah.
That everybody else has read. There's plenty of room in the DC canon for a slightly darker Superman, and he was only slightly darker. Like, y'all overstate that shit way too much.
Oh, yeah.
And, I was on Instagram and I asked a question. I was like, I have a question for the Snyder fans. Because we knew that Zach was not coming back, if they had done when they announced Cavill and he said he was looking forward to doing this enormously joyful version of Superman, if they had come in and they had abandoned every storyline that Zack Snyder was doing and went on their way, would you have said he betrayed Zack? And look, mostly there was a couple of people who were like, yeah, that's what they would have said. And I think some of them would have for sure, but mostly, almost entirely. And I got a lot of replies. Everybody was civil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone had a nuanced take. Well, if they had done this and this, I feel like that would have been a betrayal. But that wouldn't have been a betrayal. I would have just been happy to see Cavill continue. Or, well, they could have fit that in, and then Zach could have come back and said, well, the timeline shifted or whatever. People
some
were sending me
where there was an area where they were happy with both compromise and what they got with it. Yeah,
these were Snyder bros.
Yeah.
But they were not being a dick to me. I'm clearly I've got all the different versions in my background. I've got a big BVS Justice League display behind me, of course, but I've also got Clooney in the cubicle next to it on the, the shelf.
Sure.
But no one was being you fucking diaper man, you piece of shit. Nobody was doing that. These were reasonable people.
Right.
So I really want to get away from hating either side and just be you guys, just because you're happy you're getting your gun Superman, which I'm happy about, but you don't have to be a dick to the people who like the Snyder. They're not all shit. They're not all people who are evil. They just liked a different version than you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't think I'm going to be any less exhausted by the people who just hated he didn't get it and are excited at people now because, the guy who did it, who's doing it now gets it in a way that I get it. Yeah.
But also for a lot of the Snyder fans that I'm seeing who are well, I keep seeing the comment well, they did it to us. So dude, a lot of the people, there's that. But then also a lot of the people that you're being a dick to online for being excited about Superman, they weren't alive.
I mean, yeah.
They weren't around for Man of Steel. They don't know what the fuck that is. They don't care.
Right.
They're just excited about this Superman movie. Some of these are teenagers and shit who were I don't know, whatever. I just thought Superman looked cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'm getting yelled at.
I heard about the Cavill dude or whatever. He looks like he's handsome or whatever, but this is the one that I've seen because I'm 14.
Right. I just think everybody needs to chill out. Just like the thing. Or don't.
Yeah.
I'll be, I've got, my own ideas of what I want to see. I've got my own favorite versions. I've read so many comics and everything and seen so many animated shows and movies. None of them hit the mark completely for me.
Yeah.
There's always something that I would do differently.
Yeah. The stuff we've loved, the very most, we could still probably go off on about an hour of any given one of them. Of just an hour's worth of, man, I just wish if we had done this, maybe instead there would have been this whole area we could have explored. And on its best day, that doesn't mean that we'd rather have that instead. It's just that that's another area that we could also see exploring.
Yeah.
Hell.
Dude, Batman the Animated Series is my holy grail. And I'll put on an episode and go, whew, I changed that line.
Yeah.
Batman didn't need to respond to that. That was a cheesy line.
Yeah.
God. Hats off to Kevin for trying to deliver that, but that was a bad line.
Yeah. Yeah. You think there's a couple Beatles songs I wouldn't let hit the floor?
Yeah.
Only a couple.
Probably.
Only a couple. But they're out there. Yeah. Nobody's perfect.
Oh man. I meant to tell you about this, I probably shouldn't tell you on the show, but I'm gonna. There's a store, a record store in California called Amoeba, and they do this fun web series on YouTube called What's in My Bag. And Mark Everett, E from Eels, was talking about what's in his bag, and one of his was this really huge collector's edition, vinyl edition of I think Let It Be, but it included a copy of an old because the album had been produced by somebody else and they didn't like it, and then they redid it with somebody. Yeah, it has that copy in it.
Oh fuck, the reverb version.
Yeah, it has the original version. And he was like super excited about it. He's like, that just goes to show you, if you, he's like, it's really, really expensive. So if you just, learn a craft like music and then do it for 20 years and get some level of notoriety, then Amoeba will bring you out and you can get that shit for free.
It's the lesson we really need here.
But I didn't know if you knew that was out in the world.
I don't think I've known that it was available to actually get anywhere. It is. Would like to hear it.
It's only in that box set.
I've heard pieces. I don't think I've ever actually sat and listened to his version of the album front to back, but I really should.
Yeah.
I don't want to. It didn't sound good. It's not a good treatment.
Yeah.
If that bastard been better at his job, he wouldn't have gotten Phil Spector. So I don't know.
Well, it's still like an iconic piece of Beatles history, and I meant to tell you about it.
Yeah, I want it.
And the reason I told you now is because I know that I'm not going to remember later. So.
Yeah, you might as well. I appreciate it. Thanks for shooting that out the door while you had the shot,
Had to. Gunn talked about rumors circulating on TikTok and Twitter that Teen Titans is casting in the fall. He says that's complete BS. They don't even have a script for it. They have pieces of a script, but it's not a complete script. There was also a rumor going around that they were in the process of casting a new Batman actor. He says that is also complete BS.
I mean, eventually, sure, but I like the slow cook version of events here. I really do. And the separation. Truly do. But you will eventually have to get us a Batman and a Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm. No,
I don't want to rush, but there is a clock.
Who do you think for Wonder Woman?
Who? God, I don't know.
I mean, look, Anna de Armas just did Ballerina. Certainly got the pretty down. I haven't seen Ballerina. It's in the John Wick universe. I'm sure it's good. And I've seen a lot of people say Katie O'Brien. I had to look her up, and I haven't seen her act. But I mean, she's built. She's stacked. She's got she's definitely got the arms for it. Like Jesus God.
I gotta look up. Well, now I'm looking at both, but specifically the Ballerina movie. Oh, her. Yeah, I'd seen her face recently. Yeah, I could. She was
dating Ben Affleck for a while there.
Yeah, she actually really does have a very Wonder Woman-y look. Yeah, she's not bad casting at all.
I'm like, she cute.
Yeah. She kind of reminds me a little bit of Morena Baccarin in the eyes.
I can see. She played what's her face? Marilyn Monroe in that movie that got a lot of flack. I don't know. I think she'd do it all right. I think she'd be fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that Katie O'Brien, dude, she looks like Wonder Woman with short hair.
Forgot about her. Let me grab her. Let me check out them guns. Is that Katie?
Yeah, dude, she's like J.K. Simmons with tits. We are farmers. Ba 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 ba.
I am looking at pictures of what cannot possibly be the right Katie O'Brien. It was a smallish, possibly British lady. I'm not sure. I've seen her somewhere. I know her face.
Dude, they gave her the long hair.
Shield?
Stuck her in a Wonder Woman outfit. I think she could do it.
Oh, that's why. Levelized Bleeding. That's where I've seen her face everywhere recently. Yeah, she could definitely do it.
So Gunn says, because he was talking about how they have to have a great script before they go, he says, we just killed a project. Everybody wanted to make the movie. It was greenlit. It was ready to go. The screenplay was not ready. And I just couldn't do a movie where the screenplay is not good.
Well, what the hell was it?
I know, right?
God damn it, man.
I think it was The Authority.
You think so?
That's my guess.
I mean, can't be Brave and the Bold.
It's not Brave and the Bold. He has said that that is still inactive. Yeah, that's still happening.
Swamp Thing?
It might be Swamp Thing. I'm guessing The Authority. He said it was a movie, so we know it's not Booster Gold. And then he says Paradise Lost is still moving along. It is slow moving. That was a TV series, by the way. He says it's slow moving, but it's moving. And yeah, I really love that project a lot. And then he was asked if the show would directly connect to his plans for Wonder Woman in the DCU. And he was guarded. And then he said, yes. Well, yes and no. Wonder Woman's a separate thing. We're working on Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman's being written right now, so it's different. I mean, it's not different. They're connected. She's from fucking Themyscira, so... I don't envy him trying to figure out how to keep all this shit a secret.
Yeah, it's a hard world to map out, probably, on the fly. Mm-hmm. With a lot of questions being asked in any given time.
But in Entertainment Weekly, he did say that, like, we're in a pretty good place with Sergeant Rock. We're still moving forward, but it's not going to be, what would Peter want me to say here? It's still moving forward, but yeah, right now it wasn't exactly where we wanted it to be creatively, so it needs to change a little bit. So as far back as Entertainment Weekly, they were still working on Sergeant Rock, and it hasn't been officially greenlit, so I don't think that's what he's talking about when he said they just killed a project. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming it has to be the Authority, dude. Maybe, I mean, but there's stuff that he hasn't even brought up, he hasn't told us about, too, so, you know.
I mean, well, Teen Titans and Static Shock? I think they were in the mix at some point.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean... But it's weird that he said it was greenlit, because he's previously said that it won't get greenlit unless there's a script. So that makes me think that was like an early thing that he greenlit early on and then went, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that. Let's not greenlight it unless it has a good script.
Yeah.
That's what makes me think it's the Authority, especially. Like maybe that's from it has to have a good script to be greenlit right away thing.
Possibly, and to lend to your theory, like some of the Authority bleeding into other stuff might mean it's cannibalized its way out of being required.
Yeah, it might.
Now, the amount of people that's going to piss off that already had their heart set on a number of characters, if that's the case, or it's going to suck. But hopefully they do the bleed thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Also, he said he pulled the green light, but did he say axed entirely or just stopped it?
He said he killed it.
Okay. So that does sound weird. So killed it. Everything's ready to go. Didn't like the words on the page, so I killed the entire thing. Often you do a rewrite.
Or maybe he just ungreenlit it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he means.
I feel like that one, the word makes more sense to me.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, we don't know. It might be a thing where they said we never could get the script right. It was greenlit. We never could get it where we wanted it. And now other projects that are way further along have completely null and voided it. It's been made redundant, as they say. So there's no reason to have that because we've got this character from this and this over here, and we've got this character from this over here, and maybe we'll try this again sometime down the line.
Okay.
Who knows? I don't know. That's just my guess.
Yeah, I'm with you on Authority. Yeah, it fits everything I was just saying.
Oh yeah, a lot of flack for this one. Gunn was basically giving his idea of what killed the MCU or caused it a tremendous amount of trouble. And Gunn says, "I don't even know if it's really their fault." He says,
"That alone would have." Would have gotten him in trouble.
Well, yeah. And then he says, a lot of people get mad or just reading headlines.
Well, sure. But that pull quote alone, they would have been like, no, they need to admit what they did.
Yeah. But he says, I don't even know if it was really their fault. And he said, Marvel's parent company, Disney, ordered the studio to ramp up production to fill its streaming library. And he says, that wasn't fair. It wasn't right. It killed them. He says, we have to treat... Yeah, he says we have to treat every project as if we're lucky. We don't have the mandate to have a certain amount of movies and TV shows every year. So we're going to put out everything that we think is of the highest quality. We're obviously going to do some things, some good things, and some not so good things. But hopefully on average, everything will be as high quality as possible. Nothing goes before there's a screenplay that I'm personally happy with. And
so that's actually, he says they've seen the failure of that at least. Otherwise, yes. HBO would 100% try that themselves.
Yeah. And he said that the number one reason the film industry is struggling right now is because people are making movies without a finished screenplay.
he's got the money people sold on this as his strategy. So
yeah, dude,
as long as it works, it's a fine diagnosis if you don't have the keys, but he does.
But also, Warner Brothers has been doing this shit since they have been announcing slates and canceling movies and having, fucking selling movies to theaters that don't exist and never did exist. Mm-hmm. They've been doing that forever.
I mean, that's a fair amount of how the industry works just on the daily as a normal course of events. Like, you just hype a thing until enough people are hyped and enough people are attached, and this guy's going to come and blah, blah, blah. And then it becomes a thing, and then that's what a green light means. And somebody actually shows up on a day and films something.
And then they were so desperate to do it in the wake of Marvel that they just kept announcing shit and canceling shit. Like, I am digging, hopefully that all of the investors, everybody who's on the board, whoever it needs to be at Warner Brothers has seen that go down and been like, okay, yeah, we need a change.
Well, I can't stress this enough. It is incredibly fortunate for Gunn how bad Max is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the streaming app. Like, it's not like I don't think there's a future there, except as they have to have that appendage like everybody else does. But like, I don't think they have any better idea of where they're going to get any money out of it. No fucking clue, really. So like, if they had all the pressure of a budding new network and all that crap that got all the Disney bullshit going on to begin with over at Marvel, yeah, that may be fucked too.
Mm-hmm. And now I don't know if you noticed this.
Max sucking is finally a win.
I don't know if you noticed this, and I don't know if we ever talked about it, but there was a major difference between what was going on with the Marvel Disney Plus shows and what happened with Peacemaker specifically, but also Harley Quinn, and Swamp Thing for real. Swamp Thing and Teen Titans and all that shit. Like, Max and Warner Brothers were putting their stuff out on physical media after a while. Like, they put a first season of Peacemaker out on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
And all these other shows that were on Max. Disney didn't put out Blu-rays for their shows. They're like, no, we're not going to do, you're not going to go and get Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Blu-ray.
I do remember that now that you mention it.
Like, nope, you're not going to get, Hawkeye or whatever, that Loki and all that shit. You're not going to get it. You have to have Disney Plus to be able to watch it.
It was some concession later where there was, did they ever come around on that?
I don't know. There is.
Not that you're just begging for it, but.
No, I would love it, but I'm not completely keyed in on everything with Marvel per se, but I would like to catch up, but I am somewhat involved in the bootleg Blu-ray community, just because there are things that there are TV shows that were never released, TV shows and movies that were never released on physical media. And I'm talking about like borderline lost media here, not like copyright infringing. I'm talking about like this stuff just never happened.
Right.
And we're going to lose it if we don't find it somewhere. But a lot of those guys,
those suck.
Yeah, a lot of those bootleg guys were making really high quality Blu-rays out of the Disney Plus shows because they just weren't going to release them. I don't know if that's still the case, but I think that was specifically a bad call in my mind. If someone doesn't want to pay for Disney Plus, but even like the collectors are going to want it, why would you take that away? Just because you're scared you're not going to get your money out of a streaming service? Like, the streaming service thing is a fad unless you figure out how to make it work.
Yes and no. I just think it's a functional appendage now. It's just the thing you're using to distribute. So they'll have to monetize it some way or the other. But same, like the physical distribution, I'm surprised at the very least there's not, like, you put out a vinyl of a record. I mean, one, because if you're kind of one of the people that likes to listen to it, you're going to be like, cool, I want to listen to the vinyl thing because all the vinyl reasons. But I mean, for the most part, it's just a neat thing to physically have regarding a thing that you like. Yeah. You don't always sit down and do the physical act of listening to the vinyl of a thing. You kind of have it and you listen to it sometimes, but it's not the primary.
Right. Like, if I buy physical media, I put it on my shelf and I enjoy looking at it. But then if I'm going to watch it,
stream it.
I stream it. Yeah. Like, I'm not I will check every version of that. Like, can I pay you $2 to rent it? No? Okay, well, put on the Blu-ray. Damn it. I just really didn't want to have to get up, put that thing in a thing. But
Yeah.
but I still want it. I still like have that desire to own it because you don't ever know what's going to happen on streaming anyway.
I mean, with enough disposable income and your particular DVD library at my disposal, I could see myself sitting in a living room and thinking, for $1.99, I'm going to rent this. I don't feel like going up. I don't feel like trying to fish it out of where this is on the DVD rack right now.
Yeah. But there's an interesting thing.
Girl, I'd have to go actually plug up a DVD player to my computer to even play one right now. There's not a thing in my entire house to play one with.
If I were Gunn and I were Warner Brothers at this point, I would put, and they are kind of doing it, I'm noticing, I would put every show I could, every movie, on the cheapest DVD, not even a Blu-ray, DVD, and sell that shit at Walmart. And that's what they're doing. If you go to Walmart right now, there are DVD sets of the complete series of Titans. I saw Doom Patrol in there one day, like complete series set on DVD. Like make that shit, basement bin cheap to get as many people as possible to be interested in watching that shit and catching up on anything. Like they're still making money off of it, but nobody's going to HBO Max going like, oh, I got to watch this old show that doesn't exist anymore.
I mean, they're not, but
they're not.
Even, I hadn't thought about how difficult it is to even get, like, you've got all those DVDs, but yeah, like you could bring over a stack of them to my house and like, I haven't pulled that DVD thing out of my drawer in 2 years. Fuck, if it didn't work, we'd be sitting there just dick in hand. Like,
but when I go to Walmart, like there's always like older people looking at the DVDs. They don't want Blu-ray. That shit's too expensive. They want DVDs. Like Walmart specifically does DVDs mostly because they know their demographic. Yeah. Walmart is CBS, dude. It's a bunch of old people who didn't get past the DVD player. I mean, they were just like, no, that's what I'm doing. Fuck it.
Legitimately, is this not a thing that's out there in some capacity? Can you not buy like flash drives of movies?
I don't know.
Like, that seems like a natural evolution of just, if you want a physical copy of something, it's going to look stupid as shit. There's no getting around the fact that looks stupid. But so does the CD-ROM when it comes down to it. Like those are just silly little shiny pieces of shit. Now, and the back of them all looks the same. I don't care who you are, what movie's on the back of it. It looks the same. Like, USB drive, whatever. It actually goes in my computer. If you brought over a stack of USBs with different logos on them, we could watch those. It'd just be a weird thing to brag about or make a shelf of.
Yeah. I think the USB are still more expensive than just a stack of CDs. Like you can mass manufacture DVDs way, way easier.
Probably for mass. I assume definitely for mass. But
because just to get like a blank
but that's like
USB that's big enough to put a whole movie on is too expensive.
Yeah, it's like a terabyte and there's all those rewrite functions that are so useful. If you had it old school locked down, one write, no RW function whatsoever, I don't know, maybe cheaper.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it doesn't have to have extra memory, only the memory it needs and only just the functions it needs. Just do this one thing, play, when it says play. No rewrite capacity whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know. Plus, I've tried, sticking a movie that I had on a USB and shoving that in my TV. It's kind of a pain in the ass to figure out how to make that work.
I know. I don't understand why that drive is there. What is it doing?
I don't know.
I feel like it's just somehow it's just for professionals that have come over with a PowerPoint presentation and know how to work that.
Maybe.
But no one has ever done that.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there going like, okay, so what do I have to download? Can I download VLC on my TV? Like, is there like an app that will just play files?
I guess.
Like, I don't understand.
I mean, mine in theory has a thing where I could play stuff from my computer downstairs, but do you know how hard that is to actually get to work? It's as bad as like Microsoft 2000 NTE kind of old log me in before that kind of bullshit compute. It's not any more seamless now.
No, it's a pain in the ass. So I think for various reasons, DVDs are still going to be the standard for a minute. DVDs and Blu-rays. 4K UHD is where the people who really care, are going to go about the best quality they can get.
It'd be funny if it goes back to beta and just everything ends up being, everything physical goes back to a size that's roughly just a pizza.
Yeah.
We're just back to vinyls and beta. I don't know why it leveled out to this size, but here's what we ended up as a society.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, because everyone was like, physical media is obsolete until, like, I don't know, like a month later, and they realized, oh, wait, streaming services are hemorrhaging money and selling off all of their stuff to other streaming services. Well, where do I get this? I don't know. Well, now I can't find it anywhere because the parent company decided that it wasn't getting enough views, so they took it off their service because it was taking up too much bandwidth. No one else cared enough about it to license it from them. So now you have a big chunk of lost media.
Yeah.
You have a big chunk of lost media, and unless something like a reboot or something happens to, get people interested in that 9 seasons of Night Court, you're not going to find it anywhere.
Yeah. Like, that is the scariest part, is we have traded convenience, and I've gone fully that way. All of mine is convenience. But if all of those libraries where I have things or have just things stored or just refer to them where I know they are, when they go, not if, they're gone. I don't have references back to that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have to go.
I love physical media, dude.
But
I love physical media. I want my fucking house to be the House of Alexandria, dude. Like,
I get it. The Library of Congress of
yeah. Just like, let's do it. Let's get it.
Fiction. I mean, I feel you, but I don't want to take that on in my life practically. So
no,
the convenience
is fun for me. So
yeah, like
unless I'm moving, it's fun.
Oh God, yeah, moving with that kind of stuff is such a pain.
Mm-hmm. It is,
and I had this thing, like 1% of whatever you own when you move vanishes into the vortex of another multiverse. Somehow it's just, you cannot move from one place to another without stuff vanishing. And when you have big complex collections like that, I worry every time about like, well, which one of you went missing? And I'll never know. Or like, I will find out in 12 years and then wonder, did I ever even own it? Shit, I forgot now,
Yeah. No, I mean, I've got a Flash shirt that I had when I lived with Matt.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to that Flash shirt. I've never seen it. I moved out of his house and I never saw it.
Yeah.
I searched his entire house, never saw it, never figured out where it went. I was like, I don't know. But you know what? I left one of my favorite hats, and it's probably a hat that it shouldn't be a favorite of. Like, I had a leather cowboy hat, but it was like an Australian cowboy hat, which is different.
It's one of those things where like it's different and you want it to make it better, but it probably makes it worse.
No, I think it makes it better because nothing's worse than a big fucking cowboy hat from like Texas,
Don't disagree. I don't disagree with the central premise here.
That's some stupid hokey shit.
Yeah.
But like, man, I loved, like, I had this, like, it was like a big leather, like, hat. It looks great. It looked great in the rain.
Mm-hmm. I'll bet.
Like, it was fucking phenomenal. Like, my friend Chris gave it to me. He had a brown one. He had a black one. He gave me the black one.
Full Indiana.
And yeah. And, man, I took that shit on a cruise and I don't know what happened, but it just disappeared. It never came back with me on that cruise. I have pictures of me like sitting on a porch, smoking, looking angry with this damn hat.
I have seen that hat. I have seen pictures of a young, thin, angry.
Well, not thin. I was quite fat at the time. But
was that?
Yeah.
I
missed that hat. But yeah, I couldn't even go on a cruise without losing something.
Well, was that the cruise you were extremely drunk for?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
it's the only cruise I've ever been on.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we're 1 for 1 on memory issues and cruise. So God knows what happened to that hat.
Yeah, that cruise had a barbed dick. Mm-hmm. It was like a cat. It barbed me for life on cruises. I never want to go back on another cruise.
I have no intention myself, unless they make flat cruises.
Yeah. I got one more story if you'd like to hear it.
Oh, what page are we on?
We are on page 16.
Of 16. Okay.
We are done. We've got just this. So he's got Gunn's in his office. He's got like the Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man comic book in his office. And they had to ask him about it. A Marvel DC crossover. Gunn says, we've talked about it a billion times. That could easily happen. But simultaneous to that, I think it would be interesting. I also think people are a little over it. I think people want to see good stories with their superheroes, and that's what matters. And they want to see different types of stories with their superheroes, and people love superheroes. That's obvious, but they need more variety, and they need just more quality storytelling. And just having Spider-Man and Superman team up isn't going to do it if it's shit. So it's got to come from a real place, and it's really hard to make that work. I did Superman because I love the character. I was excited about writing that movie. If I were to write a Superman versus Spider-Man movie, it is a concept I'm going to be like, oh yeah, this could be a great film, or am I doing it because, oh yeah, people want to see Superman and Spider-Man team up? For me, it would have to be, if we ever did it, it would have to be under someone who thought it was going to be awesome and wasn't just a cash grab, because I am just not into that. And then he's clarified, I don't think it's likely, but I don't think it's an impossibility either. And in a tweet, Gunn noted that constantly seeing crossovers and mashups is less enchanting to me than a strong story. I agree.
Wholeheartedly. I mean, no notes.
But I want DC versus Marvel.
I don't at all.
I want amalgam.
Don't. In the slightest.
Dude, that 90s kid in me wants to see it.
I know, but like that part,
I want to see,
that circles back to like where we started this episode about I don't want to do the big power conversation. And
well, in a way it does, but the like DC versus Marvel and that series was not like the most interesting part to me. Like what is more interesting to me is where it gets us, which is amalgam. And the amalgam universe was really cool, where you have like a combination of Wolverine and Batman, Dark Claw, you know, you have Sabretooth with the Joker's fucking head. You have, like,
oh, God.
These just strange, the Amazing Spider-Boy, you know, a mixture of Connell and Peter Parker. Like that shit was cool. I loved the Amazonian. It was fucking a combination of Wonder Woman and Storm. That shit was dope. And that's what I would want to see. That's why I would want to see the crossover stuff happen at all.
I could see it just to get you to like a new set of characters that you're excited about. Yeah. But just to smash them, all the logos that we already know on screen together, I'm with Gunn on that one. Yeah, very much just a cash grab feeling kind of thing. It wouldn't feel inherently, it wouldn't do me any good, and you couldn't come back from it.
You could. They did in the comics. Yeah,
in the comics you can, if you go through the whole universe process and all that. I mean, like in a live universe, I don't think you can undo that.
Yeah, I think you could, but if they did a crossover, it would just have to be a really strong story. Like, I agree. I don't think the DC versus Marvel, as far as the way they presented it back in whatever it was, 95 or whatever it was, 94, that was, a portal opened up and they all fought and we got to vote on it. It's going to need to be better than that.
Yeah. Look, for readership engagement, that is a stroke of brilliance. That is beautiful. No notes again, but it won't work here. It's a different medium entirely.
Right. And like the thing that I cared about, because I was like reading DC versus Marvel with Matt in the back pew of our church, and I was just going like, this isn't a good fight. Like doesn't take into account several things, and I don't, it's not interesting from a character standpoint because of this, and Matt's like, whatever.
That's another part of it. It'd be hard to do, like the behind the scenes stuff would be hard to do. Who gets to do that? Everyone's going to want to throw stuff at it. It's going to end up being too much and too little at the same time.
But
you're going to have scenes like that where you're like, how did these 4 seconds of lameness make it into, and everyone's going to lose their shit over 4 seconds because it's not Beethoven's Ninth.
Right. But like the place that it brought us to with Amalgam was just so cool and such an interesting idea to sort of just like merge the universes and create these new characters out of whole cloth almost, where it was just like, it's like, you know what? We're going to make a whole line. We're going to devote both of our entire publication lines into creating basically like, I don't know, bootlegs. You know how like you go to like Mexico or something and you're like, I don't know, the Justice Avengers, you see these toys.
Yeah.
And it's like some weird, like, it's like a Superman cape and a Batman head, but damn it, those are Spider-Man's arms. You know, like you get these like weird characters in bootleg
I
form.
think I said this before. The first time I ever saw the PJ Masks characters was on a T-shirt for my daughter. I'd never seen the show.
Yeah.
So it took me a minute to figure out those weren't just rip-offs. I kept trying to figure out who they were ripping off because they look close to stuff, but not close enough.
Yeah. And you're just like, it's like some version of Batman and some version of Spider-Man, but he's there with Beetlejuice and Egon from the Ghostbusters, and I don't understand any of this.
It's like he's the Flash, but he's colored green.
Yeah.
And he has a bat.
But that was I just really love the amalgam stuff, and I would love to see it someday on the big screen, because I mean, everybody's got to get their own shit right first, because we're just now getting back to building up DC again, starting to do that, and God help them, the MCU is just now pulling themselves out of a ditch and maybe going to get some X-Men going, and that's exciting, and honestly fucking like Doomsday and Secret War has got me jazzed and making me want to like catch up, because I want to see Hugh Jackman run around the MCU.
I mean, I agree. I'm curious about some things too. And MCU, on the one hand, I've never been this worried. On the other hand, I think things are fine. It's a weird time over there too, but to your point, yeah, everyone get their own shit together first. I don't want to see any of it until. Although, how fun would it be to do a universe where, like, you did a crossover story where it's the old MCU crossover with the new DCU, and just do a story where there's like a big emotional handoff that's a fourth wall break?
I want to see all of it.
If you're going to do that, you know, if it's a big story about stories, that would be a little bit different for me.
Yeah, I want to see that.
But that would just get down to what Gunn said. It's just a good script he'd like to do.
Yeah, yeah. I want to see good. I want to see good stories. That's what I want to see. More than anything. I mean, a little bit, yeah. Everybody wants Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Sure.
I want to see that fucker on the 70s motorbike pretending to be Captain America from this, from the old movies,
Sure.
Like, I want to see that. I want to see the guy, from the Trial of the Incredible Hulk playing Daredevil, running around with the Cyclops from the X-Men movies and
yeah,
whoever. I don't know.
I mean,
Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Like, let's do that. Let's get him back.
Like, boiled down, what was really said to that famous guy in his office, the Tom Cruise or whatever, was, well, if the script's good enough, we'll make it.
Yeah.
And, yours isn't yet, but it could be.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I know, look, I'm easy to please though as well. Like, a lot of people give Marvel shit. Oh, it sucked. I'm like, better than Black Adam. like anything I see, they're like, oh man, that one was bad. You could skip that one. And I'm like, people said that shit about Eternals. Fucking Eternals is terrible. Eternals is terrible. You know that, right? You can't watch that. Don't watch that one. I mean, and I was like, no, I'm going to watch it. And I loved it.
It was actually not bad at all, but
I fucking loved Eternals, dude. That shit was so good.
I would have probably taken some out is all, but
it was long. I'll give you that.
But even then, it was, yeah, okay. But at a time, it would have been fair to be like, I mean, Black Adam, what do you think I'm going to get mad at? But like now, I've seen Madam Web, and that was,
have you?
Yes, and it was as bad as you were told.
I still haven't seen it.
It is everything you were told about a poorly made film. Like I watch. So there's like this whole little vein of movies they're making right now. Like Craven is the one that just hit, or I just noticed the other day was streaming available, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta watch it now. Like all those, like Mobius. Is it Mobius? Morbius, right? It's got an R in it.
Morbius, yeah.
I watched that one. That was pleasantly surprising. Kind of thought, well, I mean, it's still not great, but it is nowhere even close to what you were told.
Yeah.
But Madam Web, I kind of thought I'd have a similar experience. I got in and I was like, oh, this is actually hard to watch. I see their point. I'm having trouble finishing this.
That was the thing is, like everybody was like, oh man, like as soon as like the first trailer came out for Madam Web, everybody was like, oh, this is dog shit. And I was like, I don't know, the trailer looked intriguing to me. I thought it looked
all right. And then
I never saw it though.
All right was the right word. And then I saw the stuff, and the reviews were just so bad. After a while, you just have to try it. And then I did, and it is that bad. Yeah. But I was surprised. Most of them aren't really that. It's not really like you're hearing most of the time.
Yeah. No, I don't really trust anybody anymore Because I'll watch something and be like, no, there was something to this now. Hold on, you know. And then other times I'm just like, you know.
Oh, yeah. And you can have a lot of overlap.
Black Adam wasn't the worst thing.
Yeah, it still wasn't the worst. And you and I even have a lot of overlap, but there are plenty of times I've brought you something and you went, yeah, it's fucking awful. What the fuck is wrong with you? I could be completely into it, absolutely sold, and you're just like, are you actually ill right now? Whatever, dude. Whatever. Just never show me that one again. Okay, cool. It'll happen.
I will see stuff and go like, oh, Jason's gonna hate this. I'm pretty good at knowing what you'll hate.
You know what?
Or I'll show you a clip of something and be like, hey, look at this. I think this is really funny. You probably won't.
You know what? See, now I worry that you've gotten confirmation bias about things I hate, and I wonder, well, maybe you were wrong a couple times, or I changed, or something.
Maybe
there might be a couple of wonderful things that I've deprived myself of by being a curmudgeon.
Maybe, but also I'm pretty honestly I will probably just tell you to watch it anyway. If I really like something,
it usually just gets mentioned because we spend enough time talking that we're okay.
But I'm pretty good at being I don't know. I'm pretty cocky. I think I have a pretty good amount of confidence at times, most of the time, that I can convince you something was a good thing, even though from all manner of outset, it looks like something, even especially to you, that you would not like.
Well, but you're going to know the ins and outs enough to be like, no. I know an in here that's not going to be obvious, but hear me out.
Right. But then there's
so last night we were joking about, I sent you some screenshot about some shit, which I'd been joking about how hey, look at this live TV banner. Every time I go to Max, I guess it's still Max. It advertised to me that it's going to be HBO Max soon. What the fuck? Just change the site. Who cares? But there's this scroll line that I have to avoid every time about live TV. Well, I'm kind of looking forward to the separation now. And maybe that'll mean that the live TV bullshit will get off my streaming app that I don't want to get to. And I sent you this thing, though, and ended up having this thing about Duster or whatever. We ended up having this conversation about Duster and this other
I'd never heard of Duster.
I had not heard of Duster until we engaged in the entire thing pretty much out loud. And as we're going, next thing you know, we're we're actually going to watch this. It was a surprising turn of events. I had low expectations of the thumbnail I'd been shown.
Yeah, I had heard of Duster,
but I was going to send it your way and be like, hey, check this out. But hey, here we are.
Yeah, here's the thing about Duster, this show. I had never heard, to my knowledge, of Duster. I had watched the trailer, though, and I had seen a clip of it that made me go, oh, I want to watch this. Did not know what Duster was. It was I never acknowledged the name in any way, shape, or form, and I just knew, hey, that's that show with the foxy girl who looks like she's in a 70s blaxploitation film, and Sawyer from Lost. That's what I knew it as. And I had seen the trailer and thought that looks great, and then my real in that made me go I swear it was a few days, 2 days before you brought this up to me. My in was I had seen a clip of it where her FBI sidekick or whatever pulls out a Superman wallet and she gives him shit. Oh, really? What are you, 5? And he's just no, fuck you. We're drawing the line at giving shit to the Man of Steel. He is the epitome of righteousness. He, when I have an ethical quandary, I say, what would Superman do? And she's okay, respect. And that was my in. And I was when you brought that up, I was oh, that's that show. Well, I got to show you this part.
That's fine. I was bringing it up live, I've kind of seen this, and this looks weird.
Yeah,
but 1,000% would have expected that'd be a show that I would have seen. You would have seen the thumbnail of, never gotten past it. I would have never done anything, and hey, it happens.
Right, and it was funny because that happened. It's so weird that we've been friends for so long, and there are still things that we find out about each other that kind of go wait, what? And we had this conversation where I don't know, it came out that I really like 70s blaxploitation movies, because I'm just all about yeah, hell yeah, fuck the man. I want to see a movie where Pam Grier is running around killing Whitey.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's I grew up on that shit.
Right.
And like I lived in Montgomery, and WCOV would play like, you know, Coffee or, you know, Cleopatra Jones or, you know, Foxy Brown or, you know, all these different shows. And then like Saturday afternoon would be like Kung Fu Theater. And like me and my dad would just like watch all this shit. They didn't have like a proper, like we had antenna TV. We didn't have like cable in my house. So like we would have like, you know, we had like 3 channels and 2 of them came in. And one of them was PBS, and then we had like WCOV, which was sometimes Fox, but back when I was a kid, Fox didn't really have a lot of programming. So like a lot of times they would just be playing old movies that they could get the rights to. And it would just be like stuff like that. Sometimes it'd be like a Death Wish or something like that. But a lot of times it was just like fucking Dolomite or some shit. And I'm just sitting there like, hell yeah, you know, John Shaft. So that just feels like home to me in a lot of ways. I love that shit. And I guess we'd never talked about it.
Nothing ever came up. It was just not in my... I think I ran across them occasionally, like 5-10 minutes here and there, but just never hit my screen. Yeah. Real rare find for me. I'd probably, like, from what I've seen, I'd have probably stopped and watched a few minutes for sure when I was a kid, but I don't think it ever came up much.
I mean, you had stuff that was like real tongue-in-cheek, like Blackula. Mm-hmm. But then you also had stuff that was just like, oh, okay, shit. Well, they're, you know, they killed the master and now they're, you know, on their way and cutting a white swath across the country. Okay. Mm-hmm. Like, that was like, and there was a trilogy, and I won't say the name of it here. They did change the name of the first movie to oh God, what was it? The Legend of Black Charlie. That is not the original name of that movie. Black is the N-word, y'all. And there was like 3 of them, but like, and I like the character arc of these movies because they start off like killing the horrible, you know, slave owner. And then they're being hunted by bounty hunters. But by the 3rd movie, they are the fucking bounty hunters. They're the law. Like, and I think the tagline for the last movie was like, bringing black law to the white man's country or some shit. I don't know. Like, I love that kind of shit. Like, hell yeah.
That's good.
That's why I like Django so much. Like, that was like, oh God.
That would have just been like a huge production version of your Sweet Spot in certain ways. Yeah.
But I like 70s. I like that 70s look. To me, that looks like film. Like Cool Hand Luke.
Yeah,
you know?
I definitely know what you mean there. Where you can just barely see the fuzz and yet it's more clear somehow.
I can see the grain. I can see like the oversaturation. Like the really like when they were really starting to fuck around with like extreme close-ups. When they would do those like fast zoom ins to like
of teeth.
You know, a whip going around a dude's arm and he's dropping his gun and shit. Yeah. Like, I love those old spaghetti western type stuff. I love Sergio Leone.
Wow. Well, the shots of teeth for a second there. I don't know. There was just a weird time in the 70s where like the version, maybe it was there was a moment in film, I think, where like the version of going really in like that was like you'd get a really deep, I don't know, you'd just zoom in on the mouth to show the emotion. Like that was where the emotion was. I don't understand. Yeah. That looked weird. And all it ever did was point out that early dental work on film was not a priority.
Look, I think a lot of what you're talking about, because a lot of that came to the Western cinema from Sergio Leone.
Okay.
And Sergio Leone literally took that shit from Kurosawa. Yeah. Like he ripped off a ton of like, he ripped off a ton of like Eastern cinema techniques. Mm-hmm. So like when you watch like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you're basically watching someone kind of like
reinterpret, we'll call it.
Reinterpret. Well, I mean, he literally lost a lawsuit about Fistful of Dollars.
No, yeah. Kurosawa was pretty infamously not happy with any of this.
Right. But, you know, the extreme close-ups on the eyes, on the mouth, like different, that's all Japanese shit, dude.
Gotcha.
So like, and I think it's funny because like all of that stuff that I really like, is funny because I feel like that's part of what you hate about anime.
I didn't realize there was a trend there, but here we find ourselves again.
Yeah. We've gone full circle.
Not liking a thing.
We have Burbigliad. And yeah, so anyway,
to be fair, do you see how my dislike is sincere here? I did not realize this is a trend that it was in any way tied to it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I really do. Kind of. It is not an ignorant taunt I'm making. It's almost an open call, rather, that I would like to like this thing that there's millions of. I just don't understand how. If someone can explain it to me, I'll hear you out. I
think it. And I'll say this, and we can wrap it up because we're past the 3 hour mark. The
predicted mark.
Yeah, Jesus Christ! But like I was showing my wife. Yeah, I know. Last night in bed, I randomly just started, doing the the little like song from Citizen Kane. There is a man, a certain man.
I forget that's where that's from. I just hear it occasionally referenced and completely,
Oh yeah, they did a reference to it to Mr. Burns on The Simpsons. Like there's a White Stripes song that's
wherever
basically
Conan goes.
An ode to Charles Foster Kane. And I love Citizen Kane, dude. Like it is one of my favorite fucking movies. It might be it might still be the best movie ever made if you like sit down and you really look at the cinematography. Like, and it's not just Sergio Leone. A lot of this shit comes from what fucking Orson Welles did. Because Orson basically created modern cinema. Mm-hmm. Like before, it was just like people like shooting stuff. It was just like, hey, yeah, here we're gonna shoot some stuff. And then like Orson Welles came in and said, yeah, but now I'm gonna do it well, and show y'all how to do it in a lot of ways. Not in every way, but in a lot of ways.
I mean, even general audience knows like some of the we need the shot to feel bigger, so we're going to cut out the floor and stuff like that. Like he treated
it. Yes.
He did to film then what, the Beatles and all them got so much lauded for later, where they treated the studio as an instrument. Like he was like, no, the camera will do things. We shall make the story. He kind of made it an art form, I guess.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And I think a lot of what he did is what, Kurosawa, what Sergio Leone did, where you would take these shots of teeth or eyes or whatever, or you'd take these certain setups and you go, what is it trying to convey here? Is it just trying to convey a certain feeling? Is it trying to, like, the eyes are the windows to the soul? You can see what a mouth is doing. There's shots in Citizen Kane where you'll see an action that's going on. You'll have like the action going on, and then you'll cut to something like just like a smiling black guy who's like almost statuesque while something else is going in the background. Like, what are we trying to say about this? Like, is this a false face? Is this a commentary on servitude? And part of that scene that I was just talking about with that face is the fact that, they're celebrating Charles Foster Kane, but what he's done is he's just bought out this rival, company, this rival newspaper, I believe. And, while they're all celebrating and he's dancing, you have the two other guys. I can't remember the names now because I'm forced to. Mm-hmm. And the one guy is going like, well, do you really think that this is a good idea? I mean, all of these people had different politics than us. Oh, well, he's in charge now. It's fine. He'll just change them. He'll just change their mind. He'll convince them. And he's like, well, what if they convince him without him knowing it? Like, you can run around and colonize everybody, and you can fucking, buy out everybody because you have the money, but you can't change their hearts.
Yeah.
You can force people to be your slave, and maybe they'll smile, but what's in their eyes? Their mouth is doing something different than their eyes are doing. There's so much like really cool fucking, stuff to consider with when cinematography is really good. And that's also what I think of when I see stuff like, Sergio Leone or anime in some ways. There's a lot to consider, and maybe it's not, everyone's taste. It's clearly not, but I think there's something of value there.
No, definitely. That would be a fun, we never have of all things. I'm surprised we never did sit down and watch Citizen Kane. That sounds like something we should have done.
Oh God, it's so good, dude.
I haven't watched it since I was probably 12, I think.
Yeah, it's worth it. Like I just, I haven't watched it in a few years, but just like watching it, just that scene with Bethany, I'd forgotten. Like, I literally just thought like, oh yeah, it's that fun song bit where they're all the women are dancing and they're like swinging them around and shit and singing. Yeah. And like, I showed her that clip, but like they cut so much depth into it, like in between him dancing with women and whatnot. and the celebrating employees, there actually is so much like really good shit in there. Like God, they just stuffed it with depth. There's so much commentary.
I know I've said, and he did. I know I've said this before on the show that I basically just watched it because I was like, I'm supposed to watch that. But my only real memory of it, a vague memory of the plot and some shots. But like I definitely remember more from the movie about articles I've read about it since. But I just as a 13, 14-year-old, whatever it was, I do kind of remember thinking like, yeah, I know I'm supposed to watch this and I'm bored. So let's just do this. So like you go down to the rental store or whatever, you grabbed it, you popped it in. And all I remember thinking when I finished it was like I went in thinking like, well, you know, I'm just a dumb kid, don't know nothing, but let me pop this in and see. And then watched it and thought, well, I'm still just a dumb kid, don't know nothing. And I don't really understand what I just saw here, but I think that's as good as I was told. And then I put it back on the shelf and that's as much as I've understood about it over the years.
Yeah. My wife watched it and she said she watched it in college and she was like, it's black and white and it's boring.
I think I understood that. I don't know. I guess that's the best way I could put it. I think it was as good as I understood it as it could. I couldn't get my head around why I thought it was maybe even as good as I was being told. I didn't have the vocabulary for it then or now, clearly. But
look, I think when I saw it, I was maybe 13 or 15, something like that, maybe. I don't know. And it was on some, Turner or something. I don't know. And I just recorded it off of cable, something like that. And I had been told, and it was also a thing that like, fuck's sake, Tiny Toons did a parody of it.
Yeah.
Like, I knew of it and I was like, okay, well, I need to see this. And I think my brain broke. Like,
I feel like you watched
and I knew I didn't understand it all.
Oh, that's what this is all supposed to be.
Yeah. Like I was like, this is what every movie should aspire to be on some level. Like this is the complexity of message. Like they're not necessarily hammering home any specific political message because they're going back and forth. They go back and forth quite a bit, but the only real message is at the end of the day, no matter what we accomplish and how much people love us, we all just want to go back to being that carefree kid who doesn't give a fuck about money.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I know the big offensive take was supposed to be just muckraker journalism and all that was, buying a newspaper to sway opinions equals bad.
Yeah.
But then that was supposed to be the takeaway was, this big old Hearst character, even him, was supposed to be just, yeah.
Yeah. But he starts out doing it for the right reasons. And then, but did he? Because was he really just all about was he
ever really good?
Being altruistic? Was he really bad? Was he trying to be altruistic because he really just wanted to be loved? Yeah. Was that the issue? Like,
at what point did he get caught up in his own story? And it was the whole thing.
Yeah. It's great. And it doesn't necessarily hold your hand. It doesn't give you the hope speech. It just fucking sounds like, I don't know. You make up your mind. I don't know. But this is
it really was. I think there's to you it seems like it hit this spot where I think there is a little bit to that. Like you saw it and went, oh, okay, all these movies I've seen all this time, I see now what they were trying to emulate. This is ground zero.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was noticing filming techniques and stuff too. Like I was like, oh god, the makeup, oh god, like because they did spanning makeup, like oh my god, dude, like fucking the way they were like just it's like Linklater's Boyhood, and I know I keep bringing that shit up, but I did for Superman the movie as well. But
as an
the
example,
spanning
it's
of time,
pretty, high watermark example of a lot of things.
Yeah, like they didn't take 12 years to make the thing, but I love seeing the character's age, and they did it so well that I'm watching this movie in fucking HD. The last time I watched it, it was in, I don't know, 1080, and it was crisp, and I'm still I had to remind myself in the portions where these people are old men that they were in makeup. There were times where I would be like, oh God, I wonder how they got him looking so young in the other scenes. Wait, no. They were wearing makeup to look old. The makeup was so good in some of these scenes that I had just completely forgotten that they were young men. And it's jarring for me to see, pictures and video of Orson Welles as an old man in real life, because that is not what he looked like as an old man in Citizen Kane. If that makes any sense.
You're used to the aged up version?
Yeah, like I see the aged up version, I'm like, and I do in my mind, there is like
what
an
God
idea.
really did to him.
Right. Well, what he did to himself was drunk ass.
Well, what he did to himself in the first one, he was in charge of the crew.
Yeah. Yeah. But look at there is like a delineation in my mind. There's like a thing where I'm like, well, that's Charles Foster Kane.
Right.
That's not Orson. Yeah. That's not Orson Welles.
That's how you explain it
to yourself. Anyway, yeah. The French.
You got to keep them separated. I understand.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should probably stop talking. And I love you. And it's 10:30 at night now. And we started a long, long time ago.
We did.
And anyway, I'm going to send this over. Please send it back. And you guys out there, remember that we are planning on doing a commentary track for Superman 3. Still, if you're still down for that, Jason, that we'll throw up on Patreon. And then we'll also just do a review of the movie for the news feed, or for the main feed. But patreon.com/DC on screen. Please come check us out. Be friends with us. You can join for free. You won't get the commentary, but you don't get that unless you do. You either pay for it individually at $3 or $5 a month, and you'll get all the exclusive and have access to all that shit,
including Mr. Miracle,
which I will link in the show notes.
Which there's an hour and 3 minutes and 50 seconds of, I think, us just fawning over how much we fucking love that book.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I do not recall if we had a single thing to say that was negative about it.
I don't either. I don't think so.
We might have been like, it was a bit heavy on my thighs. It rested for too long. I couldn't. It was sore. I couldn't put the book down. No.
Like, no. What? Barda has blue eyes in this part of the book, so that means it was real.
We had to complain about the shipping. To find something to complain about on that one. It's bad.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I doubt we even had that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember a complaint. I remember like us sitting around trying to figure out like that. If there's a negative aspect to that review, I'm pretty sure it's that we might not be smart enough to completely decipher what they were going for.
Yeah, there might be that even. But there's a couple things we're like, yeah, I'm sure it's in there somewhere and probably above our heads, but it looks great.
All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. And, come join us on Instagram at DC On Screen. We're on Threads. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're all over the place. But DCOnScreen.com is our official site. And we're also on Tumblr. We do that too. We're all over. I swear to God. But thanks. Thanks for listening. And see you in a few days with Superman 3. Until then, keep some DC on your screen. I forgot that part.
Oh. Bye.